Good morning, I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets put a stop to their two-game slide last night at Madison Square Garden, but it was so close to a third straight loss. CBJ blew a 4-0 lead to the Rangers in the third period, but Kirill Marchenko's second goal of the night gave Columbus the 5-4 OT win over New York and two massive points to keep the Jackets' playoff hopes alive. Columbus is 3 points back of Boston for the final wildcard spot in the East. CBJ are back on home ice tonight versus Nashville. Face-off against the Predators is at 7. You could hear it on the Fan with coverage at 6:30. Jackets defenseman Zach Werenski missed Monday's game in New York with an illness. Rick Bowness did not have an update on his status last night. And in NFL news, the Atlanta Falcons are one of two teams playing in Madrid for the 2026 season. This update is sponsored by Uber Eats. Uber Eats is a great deal waiting for you at Scramblers. From now until March 31st, get a buy one, get one free deal on the Manhandler skillet. That's on the app. Terms apply. See app for details.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. We get into that real truth at 10 o'clock. Who will play the most snaps at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in 2026? We will get to that. Dami joins at 10:30, and then a little bit of Shelley time coming up at 11:30. Reflect on the Jackets with a win last night. Some bracketology coming out today as well around 9:30. We anticipate that, so we'll have an update on that, where the Buckeyes stand heading into a critical week for them as they look to continue momentum. And speaking of the Buckeyes and speaking of the NCAA tournament, the games have to matter. The games have to matter. I've thought a lot over the last 24 hours about some of the conjecture that's happening around the sport, and it's one of those things that you're going to get more and more of because it's such a hot, easy talking point. And that is this notion of Miami University somehow missing the NCAA tournament, even if they go undefeated through their regular season and lose to Akron, which they very likely could do in the MAC championship game. Heck, they could lose to Kent. You could lose in the MAC semis. If they go undefeated all the way through, this is a no-brainer. They're in my view. And I think any other view of it's pretty simple and pretty silly, quite honestly. And the reality of it is what this is all about, and what really got this started was the conversation Bruce Pearl had over the weekend where he talked about 68 best teams. Coach, I got news for you. There aren't 68 best teams. There aren't 68 teams that deserve to play for a national title. I got news for you. There aren't 12 teams that deserve to play for a college football title. There aren't 16. There aren't 24. There are teams that get into this stuff that stumble their way in, and the reason for that is always, inevitably, about the money. The middle of the Big Four leagues likes to get fat financially. They like to get fat in terms of school spirit, alumni excitement. They get fat on this stuff. And it's not what it's about. It's not what it should be about. And as you think about what is most important to you in college athletics, whether it's whatever sport that you're in, football, basketball, if you're into one of the non-revenues that you watch, the thing that makes college athletics so great, there's so many things, but I think one of the most critical things is the games matter. The games matter. Historically, they matter. On any given Saturday, that game matters, and you have to win them. And we're watering that down. We are diluting that in this never-ending chase for money and expansion and television rights and all of these things. You're watering it down. You're diluting it. The NCAA men's basketball tournament does not need to be bigger than it is. It needs to be smaller. 64 is the number. And if you're going to have play-in games, and I've been saying this since they started playing the play-in games, if you're going to have play-in games, then the play-in game should be comprised entirely of teams in the big conferences who have failed. Those are the teams that should be playing in it. You don't run the MEAC champion, like a game I covered where Florida A&M won the MEAC for the first time ever, and then their reward for that was they had to go to Dayton and play a play-in game. Now, luckily enough for them, they won that, and then they got to play Kentucky and Columbus. But if they lose that game, they're done. That's not the NCAA tournament. And if they win their tournament, they shouldn't have to go there. They should be a 16, go play a 1, go to the site and play it. If you're trying to get all of these teams in, if Bruce Pearl wants the 10th team in the SEC in, then they're the teams who should go play in the play-in game. And they should play for the right to be the 8 or the 9. There is no reason that a team going undefeated in its regular season should not be in. I don't care what league they're in. I'd say the same thing if Miami of Ohio was located in Northern California. It makes no difference to me. You go 33-0, 31-0, I don't need to have a conversation about you. You're in, and you shouldn't have the pressure of winning a tournament game to be able to do it. And by the way, that's the biggest difference between basketball and football. That's why you're never going to see a team like Tulane beat Ohio State in the college football playoff. You'll never see that. But you will see a 16 beat a 1, and you have seen that because basketball doesn't have the physicality football does, and a 16 can beat a 1 on a given day when you knock down threes. And basketball's a little bit different in that sense than football. But the one thing that they have in common is both of them are relentlessly chasing money, trying to get bigger, and quite honestly, fellas, they shouldn't. The games have to matter.
Yeah, it would be a travesty to see a 31-0 regular season team not make the NCAA tournament.
Ridiculous.
It's never happened, so that precedent would be very, very ugly. I've maintained that the MAC is usually a two-bid league. Like Akron's, I think, a good enough team to make the tournament.
Yes.
And make some noise. You look at some of the teams that are sitting on the bubble, and it's like, do we really think that an Ohio State team, if they had lost to Purdue, and then if they were to fall on their face against either Penn State or Indiana, like, is that team you want to see? Should they be dancing? I mean, extrapolate that to every other conference where you have some of the bubble teams. Even I'll go back to the Big Ten, like USC or Indiana.
Yeah.
Those teams aren't NCAA tournament teams, but they're going to be when they expand this thing. And so you're just going to make it less interesting in the early parts of it. And maybe it might revert to chalk when you get to the Final Four, when you get to the Elite Eight, when I think the most of us want that. But I also think you're going to tire fans out at the beginning with too many games. Like, it's just not going to be an interesting product for the first couple of weeks, but there's just going to be more games. And sure, the betting public will be thrilled to have more things to do that, to bet on. But I'm also wondering, like, how much paper are we going to use on brackets if we're getting 74, if we're getting 96 teams?
I still print mine.
I think I'd like to hear from people who don't print theirs anymore.
Yeah.
Because I still like, Baker was talking about like the highlighter yesterday.
Yeah.
And I had forever. I had green highlighter, I had orange highlighter. Green were good, orange were bad.
Yep.
You're making it too big. It's too much.
We talked about this yesterday in the fact that Bruce Pearl said, I know Miami's not one of the 68 best teams. Well, how the hell do you know? You know what I do know, though? I know this Ohio State basketball team isn't a team that can win a national championship. And do I think Miami is? No, I don't know. But they, on their body of work, deserve to be in. And I obviously have to change my thinking in this new world of college sports because I am huge on the college football side of things. We need the best teams in there trying to play a championship. Well, the NCAA tournament has spit in the face of that for years. As far as there were 64 teams, there's not 64 teams that can win it. But you put all these conference champions in and whatnot. And, Bo, I'm with you. And they're not playing games, Bo. They're first-round games.
They're not.
They're first-round games. That's what they call them.
I don't care. Have you been over there?
I get it.
Have you covered it? And by the way, Dayton does it awesome. They do as good.
Great.
It's awesome. They crush it. This is not a slight to them. I actually think they're onto something with it. As playing, I think they're onto something. Take the last 4 or 8 teams that get in from the big conferences and have them play to get into the tournament. Have them play in.
I agree. And what was it? Was it last year or 2 years ago? We had Texas and we had North Carolina over in Dayton in those games.
Perfect.
And that's the way it should be. If you win your conference tournament, which gives you an automatic in, like you shouldn't have to play those games to then play in the weekend. Like that's ridiculous. But we're getting to a point where college football where I'm going to have to get over that, well, we got to have the best teams in here because it's not going to be the case. And it hasn't been the case already with these automatic qualifiers. But you're right, Bo. These games have to win. And I don't know what Miami's record would be if they played Ohio State's schedule. I can guarantee you this, and I'm not saying Miami's better than Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State would be undefeated playing Miami's schedule right now.
No, I don't think so either. No.
So, if for somebody that doesn't want them in, I don't understand that at all.
No, and I'm gonna tell you what there is. We'll get to this at greater length a little bit later, but I just pulled up the latest Lenardi bracketology. So his number one team on first four out. So this is the top line of first four teams out of the tournament is Auburn. Do you know what Auburn's record is? This is Bruce Pearl's son coaching this team. They are 15-14 overall. They are 6-10 in the SEC. Get the hell out. Get out. Kindly leave. Why do we need to see any more of that nonsense? You can't even be a 500 team in your own league. You're 4 games under 500 in the league, and somehow you're first four out. You should be 50th out. You deserve nothing. You get nothing. You're 6-10 in your league. I don't care how hard the league is. You don't deserve to play for anything. You don't deserve to contend for a championship at that level. And it's something we're going to all have to be. I think the sport, both football, basketball, are both at the crux of this right now. I saw somebody sent me something about Josh Heupel at Tennessee is in favor of the 2014 playoff. I bet he is. He wants to go 7-5. He wants to go 7-5 and compete for a title. Now, he can't win a title. He won't win a title with a 7-5 team. But if he gets in the dance, that keeps him employed longer. That keeps the momentum going. Oh, we're a playoff team. Well, yeah, 24 teams are playoff teams. What are you talking about? Everybody in the top 25 is a playoff team. How's that some sort of accomplishment? Can you imagine around here, the Buckeyes finished 19th and got in the playoff, and we're like, oh, what a successful season. That's awesome. What are we doing? Games have to matter. They have to. A dicey one last night, to say the least. I won a blood pressure monitor on Bake for the third period of the game last night at Madison Square Garden. We will get into this, revisit where the Buckeyes stand in bracketology, loaded up on a Tuesday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Wilson, one thing our Pella Columbus team is really serious about is to not be salesy or pushy. We're just here to listen and hopefully make your dream a reality.
Oh, I had a dream last night where I went back in time to a dinosaur's birthday party and had to fight a triceratops for the last cupcake.
I meant more like home makeover type of dreams.
Oh, okay. I just got the dinosaur thing.
Get the windows that can completely change the look and feel of your home at PellaColumbus.com.
Looking to level up your backyard or game room? Head to Billiards Plus in Dublin. From premium grills that turn every cookout into a feast to stunning pool tables and shuffleboard tables that bring the fun home, they've got everything you need to play in style. And don't forget their authentic pizza ovens, perfect for crafting restaurant quality pies right in your backyard. Proud presenting sponsor of 97.1 The Fan's Pizza Madness. Billiards Plus is where great games and great food come together. together. Family owned and operated since they opened. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If your garage floor has stains, cracks, or even the dreaded bad epoxy job, maybe one you tried to do yourself, maybe one you paid for and it didn't work out, it can make your entire garage look bad. Let's be honest about it. And maybe those botched garage floor coatings that you've had in the past have put you off of ever getting it fixed. Well, my friends, let me tell you, the people at Comer & Cross Concrete Floor Coatings want you to know there is a fix out there. They can make your garage floor gleaming, glistening, look like a new car showroom. You call Comer & Cross at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, and they will come out with their pros, no subcontractors, and install a gleaming new Comer & Cross garage floor in just one day. Yeah, this floor is guaranteed to never chip, crack, or even show tire lift like epoxy or paint can. Never going to have that problem with Comer & Cross. Call them today, 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. It's that easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, or you go to comercross.com. That's COMER cross.com. Get a new garage floor with Comer & Cross Concrete Floor Coatings today.
It's March. Send it in, big fella. That means the greatest sports weekend of the year is coming, and the best place to set the puppies and watch the tournament is at Hollywood Casino Columbus. I'm Scotty Vegas, and Thursday through Sunday opening weekend, kiss the kids goodbye and hang out from noon to 5 with the fan at the Hollywood Casino Sportsbook. A Bill Raftery impersonation contest, free throw games, free shirts, and more. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-589-9966. Onions!
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
When we take the time to read to our children, we show them that reading is important and fun. When we read stories with diverse characters and viewpoints with our kids, we show them new ways to see themselves and the world around them. Celebrate our nation of diverse readers as we celebrate Read Across America this week and all year round.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Rain develops throughout the day today, and we could have moderate to heavy downpours at times, so safe travels and watch out for those slick spots. Temperatures will get up right around 50 degrees this afternoon, and then for tonight, rain continue into the Wednesday forecast. We'll get down into the 40s tonight, and then for Wednesday, a mild day ahead with scattered showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder and highs in the mid to upper 50s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. And we are proudly sponsored and brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for nearly 80 years. I mean, it's 4-0 going into the third. Now, I had youth basketball banquet last night, and then from that I went straight to AAU practice, so I didn't get home until, it was dang near 10 o'clock, I suppose, by the time I finally got it all wrapped up. And so I did not see this transpire. So by the time I got home, now I was listening to it as I was going back and forth to the various activities I had, and the whole time that I was doing all of that, it seemed like things were going very, very well. And then in the third, it didn't. And I do think if this one would have ended the other way in overtime, the damage here done could have been quite significant. And the NHL is an emotional sport. It's a fickle sport. Puck luck, believe in all of it, curses, whatever you want to believe in. If you lose your first two games coming out of the Olympic break and then you're up 4-0 and give up 4 goals in the third and lose, I think that sticks with you. And it helps that they play again tonight. Certainly that would have helped. But at the same time, then a little bit of a snowball becomes an avalanche pretty quickly. I didn't see it. I know you guys probably did. What did you make of what went down last night? Where do you stand on what I just said about how damaging this could have been?
To be honest, 4-0 was great, and 4-0's where I ended it. I did not get back into the third period until I think it was in the span of, 30 seconds, Bake, where they scored twice. And then I was back into the end of the game in the overtime.
What is going on?
It was very much folded laundry going, wait, they did what?
So in the second intermission, just out of habit, I was thinking, I had to check and see what the odds are on the Rangers here to win this game.
Oh my
because
God,
it sure it sure seems like all year long when the Jackets got up by 2 or 3 goals, you bet the other team, and a lot of times you would come out pretty good.
Yeah.
But I said no. The Rangers have nothing here, and I was watching that game, and the Jackets played well to get to 4-0, but the Rangers were just putrid. They were bad.
They're just bad, yeah.
They were bad. And I was like, no, I'm not even going to look because there's no way. And then 30 seconds in, Gavrikov scores. And then 24 seconds later, Perreault scores. And then as I'm watching this, I'm like, this Jackets team looks different. They haven't looked like this under Rick Bowness. Mm-hmm. It looked like beginning of the year Jackets where they were hesitant. If there was a puck to get when they've been going and getting it, it's like they hesitated for a second and were thinking and backed off, whether that was a Rangers player going for the puck or whether it was one of their teammates. Mm-hmm. It was like that whole third period, it was like, oh, Marchenko's close, he'll get it. Oh, Provorov's right there, he'll get it. And nobody was going to get the puck. They became the on-their-heels Jackets rather than the on-the-toes Jackets we've seen in the Rick Bowness era.
Where do you stand on what I said?
That would have been damning last night.
That's right.
If they lose that. And if you're playing the Boston Bruins, if you're playing the Pittsburgh Penguins, if you're playing the Philadelphia Flyers, if you're playing the New York Islanders, it might have been damning anyway, giving them a point in that game.
Oh, my God.
But it's
so
the
critical
Rangers.
that it was the Rangers.
Yeah, it's the Rangers, so it didn't matter, so who cares? And it's just like tonight. You're playing the Predators. Who cares? Just get 2 points. Yeah, doesn't matter. Get 2 points tonight. You don't have to worry about them. They're in the West. Just get 2 points however you can. So, yeah, you're very lucky the opponent was who the opponent was last night.
Here's Rick Bowness on what went wrong in the third.
First of all, I would look at our level of desperation going back for pucks. That was certainly a problem. A couple of soft plays with the puck was a problem. And to give up that fourth goal when our defense never should have been up ice pinching there. So it was it was really self-inflicted. Look at the second goal. We stumble, we fall, they get it, they throw it right back at the net. A lot of it was self-inflicted, so we'll address that and take the 2 points and get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you take the 2 points, and in the end, you can do that. He did elaborate a little bit on the frustration of blowing the lead, but also getting that 4-0 lead.
Yeah, look, we did a lot of really good things. The forecheck was good. They made some really good plays. The penalty kill was obviously good tonight, getting the shorty, and we finally had a power play. Like we don't get a lot of power plays. And they had to take a bench minor for us to get a power play. Like, oh my gosh. But anyways, the specialty teams were good. We did a lot of really good things. So I learned a lot about our team tonight. That's the first time I've seen this, and I learned a lot about our team, and that's a good thing.
Seems like the message got through. Matthew Olivier commenting here on the blown lead, more self-inflicted than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's more about ourselves. You know, every game from here on in is so important. And like I mentioned, we know what's our situation in the standings as well. And, you know, we keep close reminder that last year we missed out by 2 points. And, you know, every game's important. So, again, I think it doesn't really matter what kind of team we play or where they are in the standings. And obviously we respect their squad a ton. They got a ton of talent over there, and they're a good team. So I don't care what their record says. They really are. So, yeah, it was more about us. And fortunately we found a way, but like I said, we maybe made it a little more interesting than we should have.
You know, it's interesting. For the longest time, we talked about how the Metro be the third in the Metro was maybe the easiest path. That's all flipped here.
Yep.
In the last week, it's all changed.
And a weird spot tonight, rooting for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, I hate that.
Who do they got? Caps.
The Boston
Bruins.
Bruins.
The Bruins.
Play the Bruins. Yeah. So
go Chinikov.
Come on.
Yeah, so it could have been a disaster. It could have been incredibly damning. It isn't, because you get the 2 points, and the Rangers, it doesn't matter if they get the 1. So the reality is that you got 2. And the reality of that is now you have a game played number that is the exact same as the Boston Bruins at 59, and you are 3 points back of them for the final wild card spot. There is going to be a massive amount of separation here over the next 2 weeks, just because of all of the games that are played. And there's going to be a massive conversation that's going to be taking place every single second, probably, that they're awake, of what to do with this team at a deadline that comes Friday. So there's that's in it too. I thought AR had an incredibly pointed, direct question to Jean-Luc Grandpierre yesterday when he had him on about Kent Johnson. He asked a direct question. Do you think that he is a vital part of the future of this franchise? And that's a tough one to answer if you're Jean-Luc Grandpierre. This is a high first-round pick who has proven that he can score in this league. And so if you put him on the block, there would be interest, and the return would probably be pretty significant. Bake, you were shaking your head. No, you don't feel like he could be an integral part of this. He's been healthy scratched by 2 coaches now, so something is obviously off, and it is a cloud that's hovering over this season.
Actually, it's probably 3 coaches, to be honest, that he's been healthy scratched over his time. I think they're proving to you that maybe he's not. And one thing we've seen Don Waddell since he's come into this team is he wants them to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Kent Johnson's not getting bigger. He is a small winger that there's just limitations with in that. Is he super skilled? Yes, he is. But I don't know. Will there be suitors? Yes, but I don't think you're going to. I think Kent Johnson would have to be part of a package to bring back something bigger. You're not trading him and getting something big alone, I don't believe, because I think there's a lot of people in the NHL, right, wrong, or indifferent, that believe he is too small and believe he's too soft to play in this league.
I mean, he's 6 feet tall. He's 180 pounds, so he has the frame. So it's not like he's not hulking, certainly, but he's not, some miniature guy going around out there. And if you want to talk about the other part, the physical or lack of physical, then that is fair game. This is a guy who scored 24 goals last year. So, he can put it in the back of the net. So he's a 5th pick in the draft. He's only 23 years old. And if he's not up to speed right now, he's been up since 21. He first came up in the 21-22 season. This is 6th year in the league.
And that's the interesting thing with this team moving forward. And Don Waddell has been here now for 2 seasons. And he's really going to have a chance here to shape this team how he wants, whether it be at the trade deadline or this offseason. And there's going to be some moves made that I think might take some Jackets fans by surprise. And they may not like initially, but some of these guys, they are what they are now. You've proven it. There may have been an outlier season. I look at Cole Sillinger. He's got 4 goals on the year. You got to have more than that. This was supposed to be the next Boone Jenner.
Yeah, right.
And he's played well, but there's got to be some production as well.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting week. We'll just say that. Trade deadline is Friday. They are at the Predators tonight. Then they're back here against Florida. Or no, Predators game is here.
Yeah, they're here tonight and Thursday.
Tonight and Thursday here all week. So you'll get a chance to see them tonight against the Preds at home, and then Panthers are here on Thursday. Then the trade deadline on Friday. ESPN's Joe Lunardi with his most recent bracketology. Are the Buckeyes bracketing in or out? We'll get to that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Joseph Senta and Dr. Barry Zeta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris, and now at their second location in Reynoldsburg, are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. They can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in-store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 17 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com.
Coughlin has the car for you. Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
All right, here's what's up on a Tuesday. Huge week for the Buckeye basketball team. Started it off on the right path with the win against Purdue on Sunday, but that momentum can go away in a second if you lose at Penn State or you lose here against Indiana over the weekend. Either one of those would be incredibly damaging. Within the last 30 minutes, the most recent bracketology from Joe Lunardi has the Buckeyes in the NCAA tournament, but in as one of the last 4 teams in. So that's how tenuous all of this could be. Is he right 100% of the time? No, but it's a pretty good gauge to kind of know where you're standing with the committee and in the committee's eyes. In fact, as it stands right now, they would have Ohio State as a play-in team, as an 11 seed, playing Santa Clara over in Dayton, which, by the way, I'm fine with Ohio State playing that game. I'm not sure about Santa Clara being in that game, but I'm fine with, if Ohio State stays where they are, then that's probably a good use of the play-in game.
Winner gets Christoph Tilley for the rest of the tournament.
That's true. I forgot about that.
I guess if the Buckeyes have Brandon Knoll and the way Yagovin's been playing and Bynum, I'm okay with that.
The way he's got this set up, so it'd be in St. Louis, the way he has it set up. The winner, you want to talk about tough? Play Santa Clara. Those West Coast teams can always shoot it. So play Santa Clara in the play-in game in Dayton. So it'd be a home Buckeye game, obviously. But then you go to St. Louis and you get Louisville in the first round. They're the 6th seed. They're a full day. That is a full day. And if you somehow beat Louisville, then you're going to play Iowa State in the round of 32. So that's how tough it is at that point. So what can Jake do to make his seeding better? What can he do to position himself better? Quite a lot, honestly. This week, you win 2 games, and all of a sudden you're not in a play-in game. You win a couple of games in the Big Ten tournament, and all of a sudden you're not in a play-in game. You're well in the NCAA tournament. But the win against Purdue set the table for this conversation. It allows for us to say, okay, now we're in. What do we need to go from here? What needs to happen down the stretch? And that's the part that Jake has got to be pretty thrilled about, because he needed a building block foundational win, and he got it against Purdue. And now you got to build the house this week with the two wins against Penn State and Indiana, 2 games you'll be favored in. Obviously, this team is playing at a high clip right now. Incredible game against Purdue. Can they keep it going this week? Offensive pace is going to be a big part of it. They are at their best when they score in the 80s. We talked about that yesterday. Here's Jake on that.
I think we're at a level where we need to be. You know, my DNA is a little more up tempo. I think we're, these the last year and this year we played faster than Ohio State's played in a long time. Certainly opponents, have something to do with your overall tempo. Our offensive tempo is faster than our defensive tempo. We do some things strategically to lengthen, possessions for our opponent. So, true tempo can be misleading at times. Right. Our offensive tempo has been good. I think there's times where we're kind of pushing our team. Hey, we get a steal, we get a rebound. We need to run. We need to go. We need to try to get something early. But we got some guys logging some heavy minutes, and I think you got to take that into consideration too. And our depth. I mean, our depth. There's been games where, we needed to walk the ball at the court because we've been missing missing guys. It's a little more situational right now than I'd like, Ron, but we've taken some good steps.
What he's alluding to, I mean, we had the game at Michigan State. Devin Royal didn't play. We've had illnesses. We've had injury to Junie Mobley. We've had all sorts of things that have happened here over the last month. Everybody's dealing with it, but what Jake's talking about there is that lack of depth that this team doesn't have. So when an injury does happen to a key player, there isn't anybody behind him who can keep it at that level. And so what you have to do is you have to recover quickly. You got to stay healthy. Here's Jake on that.
Just spending extra time in the training room, getting extra treatment, doing things at night when they're back in their apartment, all of that stuff played a factor. We had a couple guys here that felt like they were here all day long, just trying to get multiple treatments and trying as hard as they could to get to a place where they were comfortable playing. So we're just really thankful for the commitment that our whole team has shown in just trying to work to be available.
You think about this week, you think what's ahead of them. You guys jump into a crystal ball and you say, what does this look like on Selection Sunday? Are they in? Are they out? And your gut feeling with these 2 games to go, what seed are they?
So I think they get on the right side of the bubble where they're not having to play in Dayton.
Me too.
I think because of Purdue, I think it gives them great confidence. I also think them, to Jake's point, getting healthier at the right time gives me enough confidence where they go into the Big Ten tournament next week and win a game or 2. Probably just 1 game is all they're going to need if they're able to take these last 2 in the regular season. And I think they're sitting, 11, 12 seed?
Lunardi has them as an 11 as it stands right now.
I think that holds.
I think if they get in, they're an 11 and they're playing in a play-in game in Dayton regardless.
Really? So in your view, there's nothing they could do in the NCAA tournament or in the Big Ten tournament that would enhance them beyond that?
Well, they could, but I don't know if they will.
Okay.
I think they're going to – I still believe they're going to need a win in the Big Ten tournament to get in because we know – somewhere along the line, there's going to be upsets and craziness, and some team's going to get in that we didn't think was.
Yeah.
And it's going to be down to Ohio State and this other team. And so I think they need to get a win in the Big Ten tournament to solidify their spot.
Even if they win this week?
I do.
I disagree. I think if they win the 2 games this week, they're in, but then you're play-in. Like if you would lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, it's play-in stuff, and you're really on pins and needles. And then you really can't have like Akron beating Miami. You can't have some of these conferences where there's a team that's getting in and have some team that wasn't getting in winning their conference tournament. You can't have those type of things happening, and then it becomes a very nervy day. But I think if you go 12-8 in that league, which is what they would do if they win their last 2 games, and you're 20-11 overall, and you played 9 top 25 teams. Now you only get 2 wins in those 9, but you've played 9 of them. I think at that point you're in. I don't think a 4 games over 500 Big Ten team is getting left out of the NCAA tournament almost regardless. Now I know that's not what they want to do. As it stands right now, they'd be the 9 seed. Do I have that right? I think they'd be the 9 seed in the Big Ten tournament. So that would have them playing a noon game next Wednesday.
Hey now.
Hey, yeah. Gosh, AR and those.
Wait a minute. So noon next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Makes it 11 o'clock pregame coverage on the Fan.
Beamer's going to bump us at 11.
Well.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah. So we would do 2-hour show and
we'd be a pregame.
We'd be pregame, and then Maddie and AR and Cole would be sipping margaritas at that point. They'd be cruising. So that's where it would stand right now. And so that would be winner of game 1. So you're talking about a 16-17 seed versus you. That would be a stunning thing to lose. And now you're talking about you win that game, and now you're into Thursday night, and then things can happen. So actually, it looks like it would be Thursday morning again. So potentially, if they make a little bit of a run, they kind of stay. If they stay at the 9 seed, they'll just stay on that 11 o'clock Central tip time.
But we might have something there, right? Especially since we have the capabilities now to do shows that aren't on the air, but they're on YouTube. Maybe Maddie and Cole and AR somewhere, as you said, sipping margaritas, watching the game, just a live reaction show. as we're going on the YouTube.
I love how you're offering to have them work.
They may not like that.
Bake?
But
No.
they may not like it, but
I think Bake's just trying to do what's best for the station.
Always.
Undoubtedly.
For the brand, Bo.
It's always for the brand. Yeah, that's all it is. I'll tell you what, if they made a run in the Big Ten tournament, if they stay as a 9 seed, it'd be a steady diet of live reaction of Rothman and Ice, because you're talking about Wednesday, Thursday they would play at that time again, and they basically just stay on that line all the way to the quarterfinals. So if they were to make a run to the quarterfinals on Friday, it would be noon tips if they stay the 9 seed the entire time.
I mean, I think we got something here.
I'm just looking to see. So Lenardi's
I just think this is what we could do. There's no chance AR's listening right now. So what we need to do is we got to get to Fish.
He's definitely listening right now.
Yeah, Fish is
I
always
know Fish is listening. That's his job. He's the PD. Like he's got to hear all of it. He's the boss. So we got to get Fish to pull in AR and pitch this as a YouTube-only live reaction operation. And then I need a camera from Tyler and Jen on him as Fish is pitching this. That's what we need.
Set up Fish with like the little fan pin on his lapel, but it's actually a camera.
Yep. That's it. That's what I want. And I want him pitching. If the Buckeyes are the 9 and they make a run to the quarterfinals, we're going to do live YouTube reaction of your show watching the games. That's what I want.
Can we call the Big Ten tournament, by the way, Big Noon on BTN here for Ohio State?
We can. I think we can. It's the one time you'd be happy about playing at noon. Would be there. More on the bracketology. Real Truth coming up at 10 o'clock. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Hey, Columbus, big news. For a limited time, get Uber One free for a full year so you could save on food and rides. That's a $96 value on us. Just use code Columbus. Get 1 year of $0 delivery fees, 10% off eligible food and grocery orders, and up to 6% Uber One credits on rides. Sign up for this limited time offer today using code Columbus and save big with Uber One. Offer valid through 3/31/26. Savings and $0 delivery fee on eligible orders and rides only. Fees and terms apply. See app for details.
When you've thrown over 4,000 innings like I have, you know joint pain isn't a maybe, it's a guarantee. For you, was it climbing ladders or too much heavy lifting? Hey, we're all in the same boat. But surgery, that was never my answer.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens knows there's a better way. That's QC Kinetics regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No scalpels, no fake fixes, just real relief.
What I love about QC Kinetics, these are the most respected medical pros in the country that specialize in non-surgical therapies to get you moving again.
Don't mask the pain, fix it. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
I trusted QC Kinetics. You should too.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
With Aetna, I always get a quick answer, and I don't have to search on the internet. They go above and beyond to help me with whatever I need.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctor's offices when requested. We show up with access to convenient care options. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at runyondentalgroup.com. That's runyondentalgroup.com.
Your mornings are jam-packed. So if you're going to add anything, make it your favorite bite from Tim Hortons. Buy any size beverage and add a daily baked donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. It's the best way to add more to your morning. The 1-2-3 menu, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra exclusions and terms apply at timhortons.com/offer-terms.
The Jackets are back at Nationwide for a battle with the Predators. Live fan coverage starts Tuesday night at 6:30.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. I have some basic expectations at my house, one of which is that when I come in from outside, it feels more comfortable in my house and not feel like the temperature outside. I don't think that's too much to ask. However, if you have old, drafty windows that are letting in some of the air from outside, your house isn't as energy efficient. Your house won't stay the temperature that you're setting it at. You can help address that by getting some new windows from Window Nation. Window Nation has high-quality, energy-efficient products, and with one simple consultation, their experts will visit your home, find your problem areas, and make recommendations. Plus, once you find the windows you want, they can be installed within 1 day. With Window Nation, your house won't just look great, but you'll also have peace of mind because all Window Nation products are backed by a lifetime warranty. Plus, in March, the more you buy, the more you save. Up to 50% off all window styles. And be sure to ask about Window Nation's generous financing options, including $0 down and payments as little as $199 a month. Schedule your free consultation today. Go to windownation.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Federal Elite Heating and Cooling and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey guys, when it comes to making a big decision like the ring, you don't wing it. And that's why I trust my friends at Diamond Cellar. For nearly 80 years, their family has helped generations of couples celebrate life's biggest moments with exceptional quality, larger diamonds, and better value. And guys, this is the best part. They walk you through it step by step, so you know exactly what you're getting, and you know you're getting it right every single time. Whether you're ready to propose or ready to upgrade, visit Diamond Cellar at Sawmill Road or Easton Town Center, online anytime at diamondcellar.com. I did a walk this morning through the house. Easter is the next holiday. I guess I didn't realize this. This was not in the brochure when I proposed to my lovely bride, who I've been married to upward. Well, we're almost there. We're getting closer to 20 all the time. Mother of 3 lovely children who, for the most part, I adore. I had no idea that she was the most festive human on the planet. Or maybe it's just now resonating that she is. Fellas, I did a sweep of dining room, family room, kitchen this morning. 15 bunnies. 15.
Don't let Buddy Garrity get them.
Oh, dude. Boy, he's undefeated. He got one. So I mean, he is a murder dog.
The murder dog.
He's a damn murder dog. It's unbelievable. Now, if you did this in October, you could probably count upwards of 30 pumpkins that would be in those 3 rooms. And Christmas is 3 months. And I asked her once, I said, where's all this stuff coming from? And then I realized that's not a question that I really want the answer to. I don't want an answer to where it's coming from or how much it costs or where all these, I don't even know, like, where's a site where you just get, she's got a gold bunny who's holding like what looks like some sort of, it feels like it's almost like a Holy Grail bunny. Like he's holding you
have like the ultimate opportunity there to get a bunny in a Knights Templar costume.
That's what I'm saying.
A bunny, with some duck boots.
That's right.
Drinking out of a grail, and then another bunny that's chosen poorly.
Chosen poorly. I'm looking at this bunny. Where do you get a bunny like that? Who's slinging that bunny? Where are you getting that guy? So I asked her about it once, and she goes, honey, this is the difference between a house and a home. And I said, okay, that's pretty good.
Fair enough.
That's a good line out of you. And the kids are excited about it every time. There are bunny ears everywhere. I mean, it's the craziest damn thing how much it goes. But I guess it gets you through this dreary time of the year where we have this rain and snow and all of this stuff.
Bo, by the way, there is somebody that has slipped into the YouTube chat here at the end of the last segment.
Yeah.
Named Fishman Solutions. And he says, this is a great idea.
The AR thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're just joining us, what Bake chose violence against Rothman and Ice, and what he wants to do is, here's the dirty little secret. If you're Rothman and Ice, and you're looking at Ohio State playing in a noon Eastern slot all week, what you're looking at is essentially the week off. Basically, that's what you're getting. You're going to get the week off, and so now you got kind of like a mini vacation there. That's because you can't do a show. We're home of the Buckeyes, can't do it. So Bake proposed and chose violence that they YouTube stream live reaction to them watching the game for the 3 hours that their show is going to be on. My proposal is I want Fish to bring AR into his office, and I want a camera on AR's face while Fish says, this is what we're doing. And I know AR's not listening now. There's no chance. Not at this hour. So that's what I want. I want that reaction from AR on Fish saying, we're going to live stream your show next week. If you're not doing a show, we're going to live stream your reactions.
AR thought he was going to watch from the simulator.
Come on.
I guess he still could.
Well, if that's where we choose to do it,
as long as they're all there.
Yeah.
Is that the place we're going to get a simulator place to jump in on this? And
well, I think his own private
house,
his own private golf club, I think has a simulator.
Yeah, he just walks down to the club.
Yeah,
yeah, he just cruises down there, and then you can do it. He had the best COVID setup of all of us
because that's where he did it.
That's where he did. It's incredible, undisclosed location. It was very, very good. Very, very strong on that part of things. There was Snagglepuss hit me with this earlier, and loyal listener, and said that the one thing about the best 68 is because there are 4 and 5 seeds that win the conference tournaments, you don't get the best 68. That's never been what the NCAA tournament is about, and he's right. And I've long thought that while it would take the drama out of championship week, championship week is so much fun, it would take the drama out of that. That if I were a mid-major, I would probably say my league champion, my regular season league champion is in. That's the team that's in. That's who we want representing our conference. Now, it would neuter next week entirely in terms of now all of a sudden you don't have this one shot to get in. But all of that was done with television in mind. All the conference championships were done with television in mind. ESPN said, hey, we'll broadcast all your conference. They start this weekend. That's why they start this weekend. So you have basically 2 weeks of championship week that leads into the NCAA tournament, 2 weekends of it, and you get all the drama that comes with it. But if you're really looking for the best teams, then the league champion, the regular season league champion, has more value than the tournament champion. That is a team that's done it over the course of a season. So I've always thought that would take that would be the best way to have the best teams in. It's never going to happen because championship week is so much fun. And we love the idea of seeing some team make a run through a tournament. And there is value in that. But I always, in the back of my head, do feel sick for the team that is the 1 seed in the conference tournament that went, 14-2 in the league, and they're on the outside looking in, and somehow some team that went 8-8 but got hot at the right time is playing in March. So it's a double-edged sword on that. It's never going to change. But he's right. If you're looking for the best teams, you already don't have it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like Cleveland State's advanced in the Horizon League tournament, which is this week, and like having those kinds of teams, like a Wright State making a run, like those. Mm-hmm. That's what this is about, right? That's what this week. That's what next week is, and so yeah, there's no perfect system when you do you're one and you're done. I mean, you said it yesterday, like you want to find the true best, you have them do a series. But yeah, that's not what March Madness is about.
No, it's not. It's pretty. It's pretty perfect as it goes. I hope it doesn't get bigger. To sum up the hour, I hope that we continue to understand that the games have to matter, and I hope some common sense is applied, certainly as it regard to Miami, Ohio, and certainly those type of teams. They deserve to be in, and that team is a team nobody's going to want to play if they do get in. I had this conversation with the boys yesterday. Do you think Miami can win a game of the NCAA tournament? Yes, they can. They shoot it, and they score. If you shoot it and you can score, you can beat anybody on any given night. That's sports. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, so the bracketology that Joe Lenardi released this morning has Miami as an 11 seed playing Kentucky in the first round.
That's exact. God, they're going. By the way, I just pulled. It's funny you say that. I was meant to bring that up earlier. This is why Lenardi knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Did you see who the Kentucky-Miami winner would play?
Kansas or Navy?
Yes, Kansas. So what you're talking about is That's why he knows what he's doing. That is 100% something the tournament committee would do, because now all of a sudden Kentucky, Kansas is around a 32 game if the seeds hold. And now you got something you can put at 7 o'clock and Jim Nance can broadcast it. And that's what this is all about. Although Brent Nance doesn't do games anymore, but he used to, and they do that stuff all the time. So like Carolina and Kansas would always be an Elite Eight game. They always do that type of stuff. Duke and Kentucky matchup, all of that. We hit the real truth to kick off hour number 2 coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Just when you thought afternoons couldn't get any dumber.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you?
Common Man and Tinny.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Your home for dumb. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
Family owned and operated. It isn't all sunshine and rainbows. This is Dennis Sullivan, president of Care Heating and Cooling. Here's something you don't hear admitted very often. When you run a business with your family, you don't always get along with them. We argue, we debate, we have real conversations about the decisions that we make. But at Care, every conversation comes back to our priorities, doing right by our employees and our customers. Because when you treat your team like family, they take better care of the families they serve. And when you treat your customers the way you want your own family treated, trust follows. That mindset doesn't always maximize short-term profits, but it builds something better, long-term relationships. Today, more and more local companies are being bought by venture capital firms, where maximizing profits often leads to a sales-first mentality. Care is still family-owned and locally operated, so we can keep people, not profits, at the center of every decision. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING when you need a company you can trust.
It's March. Send it in, big fella. That means the greatest sports weekend of the year is coming, and the best place to set the puppies and watch the tournament is at Hollywood Casino Columbus. I'm Scotty Vegas, and Thursday through Sunday opening weekend, kiss the kids goodbye and hang out from noon to 5 with the Fan at the Hollywood Casino Sportsbook. A Bill Raftery impersonation contest, free throw games, free shirts, and more. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. Onions!
Mortgage rates have dropped, and the best news is they're expected to go down even more. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. If you've been thinking about buying a new home, now is the time. And with Third Federal's Buy Now, Refi Later program, you don't have to wait for rates to drop again. You get the guaranteed lowest rate now, and if rates drop later, even after you close, you can refinance to a lower rate for free. That's right, for free. And now with Third Federal's early rate lock, you can lock in the guaranteed lowest rate even before you find a house. So you'll always have the best rate. So don't wait. Call Third Federal today and lock in the guaranteed lowest rate.
Right now at Third Federal, lock in 5.79%, APR 5.81% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage and refinance later if rates go down for free. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for buy now, refi later. Lowest rate guarantee and early rate lock at thirdfederal.com. Equal housing lender.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and I just want to let you know our son's about to turn 3 here this week. Baby boy number 2, he could show up any day now. And as you know, I got started on Awaken 180 because I wanted to keep up with the boys, with the babies. Well, it turns out that baby isn't a baby any longer. He has legs and he runs everywhere. Every parent knows this. Kids run their own schedule, so life in our house has gone from busy to really busy, and that's exactly why I'm grateful I started Awaken 180. Chasing a toddler is already a workout. Soon it's going to be 2 little guys who don't slow down. Since losing the weight, I've got more energy, I'm sleeping better, I'm not dragging through the day, I'm more present, and more importantly, I'm more patient, and that matters because this is not about looking different. It's about being active with my boys now and being there for them years from now. Awaken 180 gave me a clear plan, real coaching, and results that last. If you've got a busy season coming up or you're already in one, now's the time to do so. Awaken180weightloss.com. Get started today.
Fall is a season of change, and Hinderer Motor Company is turning over a new leaf with big savings. This is Justin Hinderer. Right now, any one of our participating locations is paying up to $3,500 over Kelley Blue Book value. That's right. Drive in your current vehicle and leaf with one of ours today. Don't wait. The leaves are falling and so are the prices. At Hinderer Motor Company, we love what moves you.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years.
I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets escaped New York with a 5-4 overtime win over the Rangers last night. Kirill Marchenko scored the game winner 1 minute into the OT period. CBJ are back on home ice tonight against Nashville. Third game in 4 days for Columbus. Jackets were without Zach Werenski on Monday due to an illness. Head coach Rick Bowness did not have an update on his status following that win Monday. Columbus is 3 points back of Boston for the final wildcard spot in the East. The Bruins host the Penguins on Tuesday. In college hoops, Selection Sundays in 12 days. ESPN's Joe Lunardi projects Ohio State to be one of the last 4 in the Big Dance. Ohio State plays at Penn State tomorrow night at 7:30. As for the Ohio State women's squad, the Buckeyes will play Thursday in the second round of the Big Ten tournament against Indiana or Nebraska. This update is sponsored by Highbank Distillery Co., locally inspired dishes and award-winning cocktails. Visit highbankco.com to make your reservation. Dine, drink, distill at Highbank.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour on a Tuesday. Uncle Dommy coming up in 28 minutes from now. Time now to hit you with a little bit of the real truth.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years.
Deshaun Watson, boy, I hate saying that name, will lead the Browns in quarterback starts next season. Is that the real truth?
As it stands now, I would say that it is. And I think that there's a very good chance that this happens. Here's the thing you have to remember about Todd Monken. He is going to give all 3 of these guys, and they may add another arm to the mix as well. One thing you know about that front office and that ownership is if there is an ability to improve the roster, they will take on financial burden to be able to do so. So if there is the guys that I would pay attention to, and I talked about this with Marvin Harrison last week, if he becomes available, if he's somebody who's on the block, and all indications over at the Combine was that he is on the block at a price. And so if that's a price that works, that's something that they would do. The other guy, that's just something they've done historically. The other thing to pay attention to on this is, I mean, for example, like if Anthony Richardson becomes available in Indy, right? There's a pound of clay there that was a top 5 pick. And I was very critical of the pick of him that high by the Colts because this was a guy who just didn't play much football. But there are some raw talent in that if in the right spot could be curated, NFL teams are going to be curious about. It's the same reason why whatever happens with Kyler is going to happen first. This is a guy who was the former number 1 overall pick in the draft. He didn't get there because he doesn't have talent. There's a lot of things that have gone wrong, perhaps, but the talent is always there. So back to Watson. If you're Todd Monken, and let's just leave the quarterback room as it is right now with Watson, Sanders, and Gabriel, if you're him, you would be doing a disservice to any of them to not have a completely open competition, right? Now, here's the other thing, though, about human nature. We know what we saw, and we know what we remember. And if you're Todd Monken, of those 3 quarterbacks, which one, now it happened a long time ago, led the NFL in passing? Which one, after his early career was done in Houston, before he sat out, before all the issues, which one led the NFL in quarterback rating? It was Watson. So that's in the back of his head, and it's been a mess on the field, off the field since all of that time in Houston. But at the same time, the clay is still there. And so I think you're going to get a completely open competition. And of the 3, Watson has the most talent. Now, it's injured talent, but he has the most. So that's the thing that is going to be very interesting with this. So I think this is the real truth. And as we stand now in the beginning of March, not knowing who's going to be healthy or what the roster is going to look like, if all three of those guys are healthy and they're all three competing, it's hard for me to imagine a situation where Watson's not right in the middle of it. And by the way, I don't think that would have happened if it was Stefanski. Not sure that would have been the case if it was Stefanski. I think the regime change allows for it.
Bo, I've been saying this for quite some time, so of course I believe this is the real truth. I do believe it's going to be an open competition. Will there be somebody else in this competition that we don't know about yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, but I don't think it's going to be somebody really significant. I think it's going to be somebody that's going to be a safety blanket, basically, in this competition. So Deshaun is the only one of the three that has really had any kind of success in the NFL. I've said I think there are things in Shador's game that I like developmentally for a quarterback, but I think if you want to win games next year, he's not your guy, because I don't think he's ready to win games next year in the NFL for you. Is that a different story the following year or the year after that? Maybe so. I believe it could be. But the Cleveland Browns, I don't think, are in the business of losing games. At least they don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to want to win as much as possible. And I think that Deshaun Watson, of the guys in the room, is the guy that gives them the best chance for that. And also he has a contract that says, hey, he should play. If he's healthy, he should be out there. So I think it's the real truth. I think he's going to roll out there day one as your starter, as much as Reese hates it. And I think he's going to be the guy until they're out of it or he's injured.
Aaron Rodgers will not start for the Steelers in 2026. Is that the real truth?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the real truth. You know who to watch for on him is Minnesota. That's the spot to watch for him if he plays. Dome, weapons, Packer revenge. Yes, the parallels with Favre are crazy, but I don't think the McCarthy thing had anything to do with Rodgers. I don't think it was that at all. I think he was a Pittsburgh guy who sold him. He's obviously very impressive in all of those meetings that he has with, because the Cowboys hired him as well. It's different than the type of coaches the Steelers have hired historically. But, yeah, I don't think that Rodgers is quarterback in the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was not the feeling I got over there. So if he plays, I could see him. I think the place he'd want to play is Minnesota.
It's interesting that what you just said, that's not the feeling you got over there in Indy in the Combine. So that makes me question now my answer to this, because I was going to say that it is the real truth. You're starting to see a lot of mock drafts after the Combine that say the Steelers are going to go wide receiver at number 21, and you didn't really see that before the Combine. So to me, that tells me they're going to add weapons, and if they're adding weapons, one, they needed weapons.
Yeah.
They're one of the worst. They're the lowest team in the league in spending on the offensive side of the ball. But that also tells me you're doing that to entice Aaron Rodgers to come back. And he's definitely going to be familiar with the offensive system that they're going to run with Mike McCarthy there. And I just believe it's the best place for Aaron Rodgers next year. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a dumb guy. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the place that's best suited for him to start and win. And I think that's Pittsburgh next year for him.
The start part, he would. The win part is interesting because you're probably right on that, because Minnesota is the clear fourth in the NFC North. Even with him, they are. So that is, it's probably a straighter path to win the division in Pittsburgh.
Which is crazy because they were 14-3 2 years ago.
Were. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, this life comes at you fast. Look at Detroit. Feels like they had a Super Bowl window that was gone, is gone.
The Columbus Blue Jackets will be buyers before Friday's trade deadline. Is that the real truth?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be You know, we talk about that second line and all of that. I don't think a 30-goal scorer is coming in here. I don't think they're that type of buyers. But I do think that they will try to add a piece. A physical piece is obviously what they want the most. And ownership has never shied away from this stuff. And I think Don Waddell wants to take full advantage of being this close. And I think he rues the day that they missed it last year by 2 points. So if he thinks he can improve this team, and by the way, they've already made moves, did that before the Olympic break. So if there's a move to be made, and technically, will they be buyers or sellers? Then I think technically they'll be buyers. I do not think that any of the guys who a lot of people around the league would want will be going anywhere. I think that it's too tantalizing to chase it.
I have long said on this program that I thought Don Waddell would be swinging big at the trade deadline. I do not get that sense anymore. I get the sense that the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to stand pat. And I actually believe that's the worst thing they can do. I said this on the program yesterday. If you're not going to go out and try to get a 30-goal scorer, and I understand that's easier said than done, but the name I keep coming back to was a guy I thought they should have went at in free agency last year, and that's Brock Besser. And he signed a new deal with Vancouver, but Vancouver seems to be open for business. I would go after, if you could, a guy like Brock Besser. I don't know if you're packaging a first-round pick and a guy like Kent Johnson for him, but he is a proven 20-goal scorer in this league. He's scored 40 one year. A lot of times he will get you 30. If you don't go get a guy like that, though, and this all depends on how tonight and Thursday goes, too.
Which is crazy that it's going to be that tight.
But to me, for the future of this franchise, and I know a lot of people don't like this, if you're not going to go get a top 6 guy, I would sell. Because you have some really, really attractive pieces to other teams in Boone Jenner, Charlie Coyle, and Mason Marchman, and even in Eric Goodbranson, a big physical defenseman. And I don't know if keeping those guys, I don't know if 2019 is worth it this year, quite frankly.
They're in a massive crossroads here with young ascending talent, veteran talent that not under contract. Have some of these young guys been as good as we thought? We talked about Johnson Sillinger early. The answer to that's no. So this is going to be a fascinating week for them. I just a lot of different ways you could go here. There's a lot of ways you can go with building an NFL team. The Cleveland Browns obviously need a lot of help on the offensive side of the ball at skill positions on the offensive front. My hunch is quarterback early is not part of their plans. One guy who does NFL draft prognostication says that might not be the case. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Oh, okay. We've got a little song today, eh?
Yeah, spent quite a while working on that one. Thought I'd sell more windows if I had a catchy window jingle.
I like it. You know, jingles aren't really our thing at Pella. We just stick to the highest levels of quality and design thing.
Oh. Wish we would have thought of that. Doot.
Get the windows that Columbus homeowners rated the leading window brand at PellaColumbus.com.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending, the original home of the no closing cost mortgage. With interest rates at their lowest level in 4 years, what's stopping you from taking advantage? Maybe it's the thousands of dollars in closing cost? Well, what if I told you that those costs aren't required, and that you decide whether to sacrifice $15,000 to $20,000 of equity at closing or zero? At Miller Lending, we're all about zero and have been offering no-cost loans since 1987. With no title closing or origination fees, imagine having the freedom to refinance any time a lower rate becomes available or a need arises. Even 0.5% lower in rate results in savings of over $100,000 over the life of your loan. So why wait? No-cost loans are real and here to stay. Simply call Miller Lending and see why thousands of satisfied clients have made that choice to say goodbye to closing costs forever. 877-9-NO-COST. That's 877-9-NO-COST. Or simply apply online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 2502146.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Enjoy more ways to save at Kroger, like low prices in every aisle. And you can clip and save more with digital coupons in the Kroger app. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. So it's always easy to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save $1 each when you buy 5 or more select items during our Buy More, Save More event. Save on Oreos, General Mills cereal, and more with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Door Service. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. Over 90,000 5-star reviews don't happen by accident. They happen by putting people first. Fixing your garage doors is what we do. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Door Service today.
Rothman and Ice.
If I gave somebody my number and they called me, I'm out. I don't know you like that. You don't need to be calling my phone. We can text.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Accountability in elections isn't partisan, and in Ohio, Republican and Democrat teams work together to create confidence in every election result. Ohio's elections are accurate, accountable, and accessible, always. So make your plan to vote at voteohio.gov.
When we make time to read with kids, children get the message that reading is important and fun. When we read books that have characters of all races, backgrounds, genders, and abilities, students can discover their own voices and learn from the voices of others. I'm Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing. As we take part in Read Across America celebrations this week and all year round, please join the OEA in celebrating our nation of diverse readers so we can set up all Ohio students for success.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state. The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at onnradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Rain develops throughout the day today, and we could have moderate to heavy downpours at times, so safe travels and watch out for those slick spots. Temperatures will get up right around 50 degrees this afternoon, and then for tonight, rain continue into the Wednesday forecast. We'll get down into the 40s tonight, and then for Wednesday, a mild day ahead with scattered showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder and highs in the mid to upper 50s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
We refer to this time right now in terms of NFL conversation, draft conversation, as silly season. It's silly season. Because what you have is you have no games. And so you think about, you're in the content business, you're on one of the big shows in the morning that goes on nationally, and you're putting together a show, and if you're the producer of that show, you say, okay, well, what always plays? And the reality is what always plays is football. Football nationally is undefeated. The NFL is undefeated, and then college football right behind it is undefeated. So then you say, okay, well, let's do the draft. Everybody loves the draft. We produce the draft wins, let's talk draft. You say, okay, well, this isn't a draft that's got a bunch of quarterbacks. It doesn't have a bunch of skill position guys that everybody knows. It's a draft that's really strong at defensive end and linebacker and deep at receiver, but there isn't a Jeremiah Smith situation in this draft. You say, well, okay, we've got, what can I interest you in from a content perspective? And you say, well, I tell you what, we got a quarterback who played at Alabama. We got a running back who played at Notre Dame. And you go, yeah, we can do that. And that's how you get what happened yesterday with Dan Orlovsky talking about Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft. Like, he went on emphatically and said that. And that's how you get this from Todd McShay. This is courtesy of Up and Adams. Let's have a listen.
And Ty Simpson's going to go somewhere in the first, and it won't shock me if it's in the top 15. I'm a big Ty Simpson fan, despite the 6'1" and the 15 starts. But I'm already starting to hear people like, could he go as high as Cleveland?
Really?
Sitting there at 6. And I hope for Ty Simpson he does not become a Cleveland Brown. They don't have the protection. They don't have the weapons. I'd love to see him with the Rams. They pick at 13 to the first of their 2 picks. But it's fascinating to see a guy who has gastritis, got beat up all year long. His number 1 wide receiver disappeared in Ryan Williams. They had like the 126th best rushing attack at Alabama, which like Bear Bryant's rolling over in his grave. And it all fell apart at the end of the year. But I think he's different. And I think that there's some teams out there that are just trying to be really quiet about it, because everyone's talking about Mendoza and then the rest of the quarterbacks suck. It's just not the deal. And Ty Simpson's going to go somewhere in the first, and it won't shock me if it's in the top 15.
So I think that's how that happens. If you're an NFL fan primarily, you probably watched Alabama play football a little bit last year. And even if you didn't, you can say, oh, he's the quarterback at Alabama. We can talk about that. There's some excitement around that. Oh, he could go as high as 6. He's a quarterback. Oh, we can talk about that. That'll lead to dialogue. That's why we put it in the show. Now, one of the teams we talk about is involved, so that adds to it. The other part of this, and I think this is the other part that he doesn't mention in this conversation he's having with Kay Adams, but the other part about this is the connective tissue between Ty Simpson and Todd Monken is pretty real. So Ty Simpson's dad's a Southern Miss guy. Monken coached at Southern Miss. They still talk quite often. Todd Monken is known for probably most of Simpson's life. Monken has known him. He recruited him at Georgia. So he has a familiarity. I asked Todd about that last week. I said, how much does it help you that it wasn't that long ago you were recruiting some of these guys? Like, he recruited Carson Beck. He recruited Ty Simpson. Like, he knows them from the time they're 16, 17, 18 years old. So there is some value in that when it comes to the draft in terms of his expertise. I do not see a scenario where the Browns stay at 6 and draft a quarterback. I see no scenario where that happens. And I think it was just kind of an easy place to put him so that you could get into the conversation about he's going to go higher than people think.
I hope. This isn't in consideration for Cleveland.
Not at 6.
I don't even know if I'd love it at 24, quite frankly. There's just sitting there at 6, 2 of the glaring needs that this Cleveland Browns roster has right now are wide receiver and offensive line. I know you got one offensive tackle yesterday. You still need another tackle, though, because I don't have any faith in DeJuan Jones ever being healthy. So you need another tackle. So to me, if you're not drafting a wide receiver or a offensive lineman at 6, it better sure as hell be Caleb Downs, because that's the best player.
Just to have the conversation, how would you feel about, bless you, Ty Simpson at 17 or 20? Because I look and see Dallas with 2 first-round picks. They've got their pick at 12, and then they pick at 20 because of the Micah Parsons deal. If they were to come up and take 6 from Cleveland, then Cleveland moves back to that 20 spot. Just to have the conversation, Ty Simpson at 20. And maybe you secure yourself another first-round pick this year, you secure yourself another first-round pick next year, and maybe a 2 this year.
I just don't think that I am not so arrogant. Put that in the sound.
Well, NFL coaches are fairly arrogant.
No, I just have a hole in this. I am not so arrogant to suggest that, or to presume, I guess, that I can tell which quarterbacks hit and which ones don't in the NFL. I'm not. I didn't think you could teach accuracy. Josh Allen got accurate. That you're either accurate or you're not. He got accurate. That happened. There are certain guys you look at and you go, yeah, that's going to work. And I'm shocked that Justin Fields wasn't better. It haunts me. I don't understand it. It caused me to kind of maybe slow play the way I viewed C.J. Stroud coming out, even though everything on tape led me to believe that C.J. Stroud would be ready to go right out of the gates as an NFL quarterback, and he was. Now, he struggled the last couple of years juxtaposed to what he was in his rookie year. But I think this is the hardest thing to do in sports. This is it. Draft a quarterback. and hit on it. And you can just look at the last 10 years of quarterbacks drafted in the first round and see massive misses all over the place. And what we've seen is quarterback finishing school, quarterback rehabilitation. It happened for Baker. It happened certainly happened for Sam Darnold at the highest level. Both of those guys went to multiple teams before finding homes. Bake now has kind of reverted back to what he was with the Browns, which was really good, which was good. He was good. Wasn't great, but he was good. And he is, to Tampa, absolutely a franchise quarterback for them. But now they're going to have that conversation of, do we pay him as such? Are we going to give him $180 million? Are we give him $200 million? I probably wouldn't. And that's the spot Cleveland was in a few years ago with him. What do we do with this guy? And then the same thing I would say is true with, so to sit here and say, like, I know for sure Ty Simpson is not going to be an NFL quarterback. No, that would be absurd to say. I don't know. Here's the things that I look at as red flags for Ty Simpson. He's smallish by NFL standards. He's slight by NFL standards. He is also a one-year starting quarterback. And that's a big red flag to me. Mm-hmm. Anytime I see, and this is one of the ones I was on as I've gone through all the misses. Anytime I heard any conversation about Mitch Trubisky in the draft that he came out and went number 2 overall, by the way, I just went back and looked at, why did he sit for 2 years at North Carolina? They didn't have Drake May ahead of him. He couldn't beat out those guys. Something wasn't right. It just didn't add up. So if you're a one-year starter at quarterback, then that's a red flag for me. So for Ty Simpson, for me, those are the red flags I see. And I go, yeah, I'd probably avoid it. But I don't know. I can't tell you if a quarterback's going to hit or not. Nobody does.
So, Reese, to answer your question, I was all for, and you guys know this, the Browns trading out of 2 last year and going back and getting a guy like Mason Graham, because I thought Mason Graham was can't miss, and I had questions about a quarterback they would draft there or Travis Hunter. I think the player that you're going to get at 6 this year, whether it be a Carnell Tate or whether it be one of these offensive linemen or whether it be a Caleb Downs or a Sonny Styles, I think that player is going to be a really good player and with your team for a long time. So I personally, this year, I would not trade back. I would not trade out of 6.
Well, I would if you could give me another one. Because the only pushback I'll give you on that is this was consistent. Draft evaluators. Not a massive difference between number 1 receiver and number 5 receiver, and almost no difference between number 1 tackle and number 5 tackle. That's just in those positions. That was pretty much a consensus over there. So if you're telling me, like, if you want to use Reese's thing, and let's say Dallas wants to come up to 6, well, now all of a sudden, if I pick up, I get their 1 and I get another 2, I would love a 2 in 2027. That's what you'd love, is that. But, yeah, I would probably entertain those conversations, just not to take a quarterback.
And I guess I just feel those players that you're going to get there, I think the difference between Carnell Tate and the other receivers is pretty vast.
That's probably the better. He was consensus 1. Carnell was. He was consensus 1, right? So, yeah, those are the conversations that they're going to have. Reese, would you do it?
No.
Ty Simpson in the first round?
No, just get Carnell Tate at 6 and then get Freeling or best available lineman at 24. Don't overthink this.
Unless they address the other linemen in the next week.
If they do that, then we can have a different conversation. But as of right now, just keep it. I think the KISS method works here. Let's just see if they want to.
We'll see how that all goes. 2 minutes, Mr. Tiberi stops by. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Remember what sunshine feels like? Windows open, birds chirping, everything looking fresh and new. Spring is closer than you think, and so are those home projects on your to-do list. Maybe winter left its mark, a small leak that's getting bigger, shingles that didn't survive the snowstorms, or siding that's clearly seen better days. Whatever your home is facing, our team of professionals at Newman Roofing are here to help. For more than 34 years, Newman Roofing has been helping homeowners protect what matters most. From your first phone call, you'll notice the difference. Passionate and committed people who care about doing the job right. And with over 1,000 5-star Google reviews, you don't have to take our word for it. If your roof, siding, or gutters need attention, call the family company you can trust, Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof this spring, get a Newman roof.
Got this. Breathe. You got this. You got this.
In the moments that truly matter, what do? Rise to the occasion. Ohio Health. It's time.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, you may be in big trouble with Chip Wood.
Our owner?
Free oil changes along with alignment?
On any 4-tire purchase.
And Goodyear's up to $160 off?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm telling.
But the Wood family is behind all this.
Oh, those rascals.
But don't tell the accountants.
Of course not. And what do they do again?
Buy any set of 4 tires at Tire Discounters and get a free alignment and oil change. Make them Goodyear's and save up to $160 more. See store for details.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Where do we find you today?
I am at the Schottenstein Center getting ready to visit with Coach Jake Diebler. And I am in a room off to the side of the arena. The ice hockey team is out there practicing right now. But, yeah, I'm hanging here at the Schott right now. And it's a beautiful day. It's going to rain. The snow's gone. We're going to have just a lot of rain. Yeah, I love it.
This is your favorite time of year.
Let me tell you what. It was very hard to come back when I was on the Caribbean Sea. You know?
Yeah, that's
waking up every day. And yeah, it was, by the way.
Sure.
And I know you've been there. This first time I ever went to St. Bart's. You're familiar with that?
I have not been to St. Bart's. I'm familiar with the type of people that go to St. Bart's, and that tells me all I need to know about your financial situation that you're cruising into St. Bart's.
Well, let me just tell you something. It is called the yacht capital of the world, and we got there, and there were yachts everywhere. And I'm not talking like the little dinghies. No. These are big ships, gigantic. Yeah. It's insane. And then the big thing is, and they go, oh, yeah, do you see that ship there? That one with the helicopter on the back, that's the chase ship. That's the one that chases Bezos' yacht. And if they, the crew live on, and I'm like, what? But the prices on St. Bart's, it was insane. It was Bo Bishop money. Let me tell you what.
Oh, please. You're on the trip. I'm not. I'm slumming it at Indy in some sort of a budget hotel, just trying to scratch 2 pennies together. You're the one going to St. Bart's.
Yeah, okay. Let's not kid ourselves. Anyways, I get off, and I'm looking, and there's Prada, and there's Yves Saint Laurent, and it's a French, island, and it's very upscale, all this. Now, the good news is most of the stores were closed because it was Sunday. But, Terry wanted to get a T-shirt. And we go and wanted to get the babies some T-shirts. Take a guess. The cheapest T-shirt for a kid in some of the stores that we went in. 45 euros.
I was going to say $45, but my hunch is a euro goes more than $1 now.
Yeah, it's like 45 euros, but about $50, $51 American.
$50. That's what I thought. So let me ask you this. So you've been to quite a bit of those Caribbean islands through the years on the cruise and all of that.
Yes.
Everyone knows about St. Bart's and the reputation. Is it well earned?
It's
what makes it so special?
It's pretty amazing, and it's like the Mini Cooper capital of the world. I just got Terry Tiberi a Mini Cooper for Christmas.
Oh, my. See, look at the wealth you're throwing around. We're buying cars for Christmas. We're going to St. Bart's. My God.
Yeah. I'm living big. Yeah. Anyways, well, I used to say I'm living in the fast lane with a Kmart charge card. Anyways, it was really something. I mean, it is beautiful. It's great. I mean, all those islands are spectacular.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
We went to Grand Turk.
Okay.
We
Where
went
else?
to St. Bart's.
Yep.
we went to St. Martin, and we went to St. Thomas, and they were all gorgeous.
So I've been to 2 of those 4. So what makes St. Bart's more of the destination for the ultra wealth versus St. Thomas, which, by the way, that's incredible as well. But what's the differentiator?
St. Thomas is part of the United States.
Sure.
And St. Bart's is French.
Yeah.
And it had a very European feel, and I've never been to Europe, but you felt like everyone's speaking French. And it just the way it was designed, it kind of reminded me of what it must be like in France. It's just cobblestone streets and just very quaint. And it's pretty cool. And we had to take a cab from one side to where the cruise ship came in. And the cruise ship, the way you get there is they park out in the middle of the bay, the cruise ship, and then you take a tender in. And you're just surrounded by all these just opulent yachts. I mean, it was incredible. I just couldn't believe how many yachts there were there. It was incredible. But it was pretty cool. Let me put it this way. We found out after we left that Robert Kraft had his yacht there.
Oh, yeah.
And he and Vrabes were at the same area we were. I know some of the Buckeyes ran into him while they were there. They were staying on Kraft's yacht there. Cool. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah, but they had big yachts in St. Thomas too when we got in there. That was pretty amazing too. St. Thomas is. I think I like St. Martin, St. Thomas the best.
I remember that my brother lived on St. John for like 6 years.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
You just didn't. You don't listen when I talk. I mean, it happened when you and I used to work together every day. He was still there at that time. We used to talk about it, you and I. Just maybe your memory's gone. I do come up with a great idea. I have an idea. You just said in that answer that you have not been to Europe.
Right.
This is what I think we need to do.
Go.
We go to our friends at Travel Partners, incredible people, and we say, Dom and Bo do Italy. Who wants to join them?
Yeah, we do a cruise.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that'd be a great idea.
I mean, don't we do that? We have a charitable part to it, Maria's message, which is so near and dear, obviously, to your heart, mine, and all of it. And we got a great message. We got and we go do Italy.
I would love that because you could sail out of Spain and do all the and it would be fabulous. Let me tell you
them all. Why can't we do that? Can we get that done?
For my 60th birthday, I was going in 2020, and then
what happened in 2020?
It was called COVID. Shut the world down.
That was the last time I was on the Buckeye Cruise. Was 2020, and I
remember we were there together. Remember, and we're like walking around going, "Well, I think everything's okay." We'd heard the rumblings, and there were all the jokes, and then we got back from that cruise. And remember what happened? I'll never forget. I went into our GM's office, and he goes, hey, we're closing everything down here. You're going to start working from home. And I'm like, what?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was like 8 months of that, remember?
Well, it was within, I remember thinking, like, by the time we got back to port and was in Miami that year, I remember thinking, I just got to get off this boat.
Yeah.
And everybody thought that way. We just got to get off because you didn't want to get stuck somewhere. And you didn't, and nobody, we were just starting to, you're right. We were just getting whispers of it. And then it was the conference championship is when it shut down. That's when everything shut down, was the next week.
I just remember there were a couple boats, and I just remember that there were some boats in the Miami area and whatever in different areas, and they weren't letting them come to port because they had people that were sick on it. And I'm going, holy smokes, were we lucky? And it just went crazy. The whole world went nuts I did sports in my kitchen and dining room for the next 8 months after the cruise.
Yep. Those were the times, my friend. Hey, big win. You're going to talk to Jake here momentarily. Big win against Purdue. I've been saying it's awesome. It's a foundational win, and he knows this. He also now has to beat Penn State and Indiana because you lose one of those, and then the goodwill is from Sunday is gone.
Well, and the thing is, if you look at most of the projections, they have Ohio State in, but, barely in.
Yep.
And, the magic number, you and I have talked about this, is 20 wins.
Mm-hmm.
They're at 18. They got 2 games go. They should beat Penn State at Penn State. And, Indiana's a team that's also on the bubble. They're fighting to get in. So they're going to come in here and they're going to try like heck. And it's always a rivalry game when Ohio State and Indiana play. But you're absolutely right. If Ohio State, in my opinion, if they win these next 2 games, that'll put them in. Because if you look at the one ranking, not the top 25, but I think they're ranked like 38th or something in the power ranking or whatever. And, that should be good enough to get you in. And I think that's why most of the predictors are saying they're in right now, but they got to take care of business. And, I am amazed. I think Jake Diebler's done a great job, and I know there's grumblings and people say whatever. In my opinion, no one deserves to get to the tournament more than a Bruce Thornton, who has just given his entire career to this university and has done so much. And I really want him to be able to experience that. But I think Jake has done a great job navigating what has been a very adversity-filled season. Mm-hmm. I mean, the injuries they've had to deal with and just some of the crazy things that have happened with sickness and whatever. And, you think about the games that they lost that they could have won. They really have not been blown out, but maybe one game this year. They didn't look very good against Iowa. Sure. But other than that, these guys have played and could have won so many of these games. They should have beat North Carolina. They should have beat Virginia. And, they're knocking on the door. They put it together. And I think they're getting healthy at the right time. Just close the deal now, boys. Get it done. You're at the promised land. You're at the bottom of the hill. You can get to the top. Just take care of these next 2 games.
All right. We'll let you get to work. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Thank you for everything. But I love that idea.
Come on.
You on
go
a
talk
cruise
to Chris.
ship. Can
Chris
we room
Lisa.
together?
Let's go.
Can we room together?
You and I can share a suite, and then we'll have the brides on the other end of the ship in their own suite.
Yeah, that'd be great. You and I.
They can talk, and you and I can tomcat around.
It'd be like Paulie Walnuts and Tony, just whatever. Yeah, just here we are, 2 idiots.
Pine Barrens, you're sucking down ketchup packets and not sharing them with me. How dare you?
There you go, buddy. All right, bye-bye.
There he goes. Tuesdays with Tiberi on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We'll do a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. I know you made a big point after the game to acknowledge the athletic training staff and the medical staff, what they did to get everybody ready for the Purdue game. And I know that's something you've always relied on a great deal.
Yeah, listen, I think we've certainly been dealt some adversity in that regard this season. But, more specifically, there was a lot of unknowns going into the Purdue game. And the amount of time they spent, the time our guys spent to get ready was just, it was big time. So it was appropriate to honor those guys for the work they put in to help us get ready to go for that game.
Also important that the players do the part that they have to do in all of that.
Yeah, and we got great guys who are committed to doing everything they can to help Ohio State basketball. And it was going in the night before the game. We weren't sure. We thought we were going to be missing a couple guys, and they found a way to be available. And I appreciate just the commitment for that.
All right, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the court. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. Basketball is full of challenging shots, and life can be too. With Encova, you don't have to do it alone. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
Jake, in looking back at the Purdue game, one of the key points would seem to be the fact that your team got to the free throw line and you limited Purdue's ability to get to the free throw line. That had to be a big element at all, wasn't it?
Yeah, we wanted to play through the paint. It's a big part of our offense when we're doing that. You know, we're either creating good looks on the perimeter or getting to the free throw line, and guarding without fouling is important in this league too, and we were able to do that. You know, we gave them some free throws there, a couple and ones down the stretch, but, you know, some of the discrepancy was them fouling at the end of the game too, but just in general, I thought we put a great presence on the paint, either by driving it or on the offensive glass.
Okay, there's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donatos, Kroger, The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag Buckeyes Care.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending, the original home of the no closing cost mortgage. With interest rates at their lowest level in 4 years, what's stopping you from taking advantage? Maybe it's the thousands of dollars in closing cost? Well, what if I told you that those costs aren't required and that you decide whether to sacrifice $15,000 to $20,000 of equity at closing or zero? At Miller Lending, we're all about zero and have been offering no-cost loans since 1987. With no title closing or origination fees, imagine having the freedom to refinance any time a lower rate becomes available or a need arises. Even 0.5% lower in rate results in savings of over $100,000 over the life of your loan. So why wait? No-cost loans are real and here to stay. Simply call Miller Lending and see why thousands of satisfied clients have made that choice to say goodbye to closing costs forever. 877-9-NO-COST. That's 877-9-NO-COST. Or simply apply online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
On Monday, veteran NBA reporter Mark Stein reported that, quote, members of teams in the mix for the number one pick in the NBA draft said they wouldn't take Darren Peterson with the top pick. One source says there are too many question marks. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing. Not a thing. Not right now. This kind of feeds into the conversation we were having. And by the way, since all of this, we've been talking about this on this show with him and Ohioan and all of the rest management, taking himself out, all that stuff. We talked about, I don't know, month and a half. Like last week, it really picked up nationally and everybody started having the Darren Peterson conversation. Have you noticed, my guess is you haven't. I do because my middle loves Kansas basketball. What I've noticed is he now plays games. Like, I don't know if you paid attention like the last week. He's not doing this. He's not coming out. He's playing games. So the message clearly has gotten to him and his people that this is starting to hurt you and the perception of you as a player. So what I think is going to happen is he will end up going number one overall because I think the talent is the talent by the time we get there. You have to remember, this is March 3rd. The NBA draft is not till July. There's a long time between now and then for things to sort themselves out, and his talent is such that I have a hard time believing someone's passing on him at one.
So I think this is a little bit of a thing just because of what you said, Bo. There was enough awareness raised around this and enough people started questions that maybe it'll shut this crap down.
Yeah.
And you won't have guys doing this anymore. It's not a thing because, as you mentioned, the NBA draft is a long way away, and I'm still not sure that he won't be the number one pick. It's also not a thing because if you don't take him number one this year, it sure seems like there's a handful of other guys that you're going to be just fine taking number one. If it was Darren Peterson and just a bunch of scrubs, he's going number one regardless. So that's the only reason they can say this is because they still have a Cam Boozer and AJ DeBanza that they can draft number one.
So the two instances, this is over the last month. So this came to the forefront in the BYU game where he played the first half. He had 18 at half against AJ DeBanza, who a lot of people think is going to be the other number one if it's not him. So that's when the first time we've seen it. Here are his minutes played since BYU. He played 35 minutes at Texas Tech. He played 34 minutes at Utah, 24 against Iowa State. And that was one that he asked out. Then he was asked out 18 minutes against Oklahoma State. That's the one when Self got a little bit annoyed by it. Since then, 32, 30, 31 against Cincinnati, Houston, and Arizona. So the message is getting through to him and his people. And I think that here's the other thing, and I said this a couple of weeks ago. Adidas has been compensating him since he was 16 years old. My guess would be that they really want him in the NCAA tournament in a big, big way. In a big way. So I would be shocked if any of this happens again, and our memory on this will go away pretty quickly. I really think it will.
The NFL is going to do their owners' meetings on March 29th in Phoenix, Arizona. The Cleveland Browns reportedly proposed an amendment that will be discussed at those meetings, quote, to allow draft selections to be traded up to 5 seasons in the future. The current NFL limit is 3 years. Cleveland's proposal will require 24 votes to pass. The subject has been discussed, and then they might vote on it. They might just table it until May. Thing or not a thing?
I don't understand. I guess the only reason it's only 3 years out is protect owners from themselves. Protect teams from themselves. That's the only reason it's 3 as opposed to 5. But I don't understand why you need to put any sort of restraint on what you can trade. If you want to trade your first-round pick in 2036, trade it. I don't know why that's even in the place where only the first 3 years. If someone wants to give you something for it, let them. Why would there be any sort of constraint on how far out you can make a trade?
I guess if you want to, yeah, but it was always kind of ridiculous that, like, the Oklahoma City Thunder 4 years ago were trading 2031 first-round picks and gathering 2031 first-round picks. And, of course, it would be the Browns that are pushing that. Why give up 3 drafts when you can give up 5 for a quarterback that may never really play for you?
Well, they're going to have to live with that one forever, the Watson part.
For sure.
But the reality is that the reason that they would want this is because my hunch is, well, the reason they would do it is because ownership there will pay players. So if it makes it easier to get a game-changing player and pay for him, then they want that. So I'm sure that's their motivation behind it is, let's say it takes 4 ones to get Joe Burrow or whatever. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. But let's say that were the case. The next 4 ones for a 24-year-old franchise quarterback. Yeah. So sign me up. Let's deal with it. Let's go. So I'm guessing that's probably the reason behind it. And basically these laws are just in place to protect owners from themselves.
I want all my picks back.
Scott Van Pelt
does. Most ridiculous sports movie ever. Truly. And that's saying something.
On the SVP, way past Eric's bedtime sports center, you had Stanford Steve telling Scott Van Pelt that Kirk Herbstreit called Sonny Styles' combine performance 4 years ago.
I just go back to working with Herbie and just knowing how good and dialed in he is. Georgia, Ohio State, C.J. Stroud against Stetson Bennett, crazy comeback for Georgia. I go to the team meetings with Herbie, and we're at the Ohio State team hotel, and they're coming to eat the meal like we're in the room while they're eating, and the guys are coming over on the side, and Herbie points over. He's like, hey, see that kid over there? That's Sonny Styles. He's going to be an absolute stud. Like when his time comes for the combine, he's going to tear. I'm like, what? Who's Sonny Styles? He's barely on the roster. He's like, just notice. That kid right there is going to be an absolute stud. Top 10 pick, the whole thing. 4 years ago.
He was on top of it.
Anybody wants to say what they want, but like I was just like, Herbie, man, how the hell do you know that?
Thing or not a thing?
Well, because Herbie knows who his dad is. And he might have got intel that he was having him run with parachutes with his brother when they were 5 and tricked them into doing speed testing while they thought they were playing tag. That's how he knew it. I'm not saying it was 4 years ago, but Threes said the same thing on our air. So, yeah, I think a lot of people saw this one coming. That's a good job out of Herbie to see it coming at that age. But I think most people, I did this last week when he had the great combine day. Like, if you're from Pickerington, when's the first time you heard, way to get a load of Sonny Styles? I mean, I'm guessing that was like 8 years old.
I'm going to say this is a little bit of a thing in the fact that a lot of people around here have their opinions of Kirk Herbstreit, but the dude is where he is because he'll put the work in. Mm-hmm. And he knows these things. And I know it's easier for him to know Ohio State players because of his connections here and his connection to Central Ohio. But we got to remember, Sonny Styles was a 17-year-old kid then. He should have still been a senior in high school when this was going on. But he was there on that Buckeyes team playing special teams. And for someone like Stanford Steve, he's probably like, I've never heard of this kid. Who the hell is this kid? What? Why would you be talking about him? But I do think it says something to the work that Kirk Herbstreit puts into his craft, and he knows who's who and what's what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, final hour of the program. A week from today, we will be spring footballing. Hard to believe. What will be the major talking points heading into that? We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here in The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
I started my first business when I was 12, mowing lawns for about $5 a yard. I learned if you do the job right, people trust you and customers care that you show up and do what you say you're going to do. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Doors. From garage door repairs to upgrades, we show up, we stand behind every job. We only use the best parts, and spring's guaranteed to last a lifetime. When you care about the people you serve, you work harder and it shows. Call Don's Garage Doors today or schedule online at donsgaragedoors.com.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more.
Say goodbye to car care headaches with Carvenience from Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. For only $49, we'll pick up your vehicle, leave you with a rental, and return it fully serviced and spotless. No more juggling your schedule or wasting hours at the shop. Carvenience lets you focus on what matters while we take care of all the rest, making life easier. Schedule your service today at HindererMotorCompany.com.
If your roof is leaking, you don't need a sales pitch. You need answers. I'm Bill Schmidt with Brothers Roofing and Construction, a local certified contractor helping homeowners across central and southern Ohio solve real problems. No pressure, just honest work done right.
At Baths R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement. As the Midwest's fastest growing 5-star bathroom remodeler, we're more than just transformations. We're a community driven by a mission to bring your dreams to life. Our installation team, part of the Baths R Us community, isn't just skilled. They're dedicated to respecting your home. Each day, they bring craftsmanship and hustle, turning your dream space, no matter the size, into reality. Together, we embrace a culture that values diversity, collaboration, and giving back. From supporting local projects to fostering a workplace where every voice is valued. Baths R Us is more than a company. It's a community of experts. We're also expanding locations to create more possibilities for homeowners across the Midwest. Wherever you are, you'll find us ready to turn your dreams into something you can see, feel, and enjoy every day. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsrus.com. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in. Worthington.
Common Man and Bob Capace here for Worthington Jewelers. Bobby, it's bridal sale time.
Our annual spring bridal sale is March 10th through the 21st. Buy one and get one 50% off on all bridal jewelry.
And don't miss the weekend trunk shows featuring the latest styles from the top designers. And Bobby, if custom is the choice, you're the man for that.
Absolutely. Let us make the ring of your dreams.
Check out our custom ring builder at worthingtonjewelers.com, where Columbus gets engaged.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
It's 2026, the year you achieve your health goals. The Good Feet store wants to help. Trade in your bad feet for good feet. We want to help you walk, run, exercise, and play in comfort this year. Visit the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road in Grove City.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets are back on home ice Tuesday. CBJ hosts the Nashville Predators tonight at 7. You can hear it on the Fan with pregame coverage at 6:30. Defenseman Zach Werenski missed their 5-4 overtime win last night in New York. Werenski was out Monday with an illness. No word on his status for tonight. The Jackets will be back on home ice Thursday against the Panthers, then Saturday hosting the Utah Mammoth. The NHL's trade deadline is Friday at 3 o'clock. In NFL news, the franchise tag is due today at 4. The Bengals are not expected to tag Trey Hendrickson, meaning he'll be a free agent next week. Cincinnati could be playing in Spain this upcoming season. This morning, the Falcons were announced as one of the teams playing in Madrid this year. Atlanta is scheduled to host Cincinnati in 2026. And in college hoops, Ohio State plays at Penn State tomorrow night at 7:30. ESPN projects the Buckeyes last four in the NCAA tournament. This update is sponsored by Eco Plumbers. Get $500 in free plumbing repairs when you buy a new water heater. Visit geteco.com and book today.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Tuesday edition. A little bit of Shelley time coming up in 28 minutes from now. A week from today, go time. Go time. Spring football starts around here. One of the bigger picture things, and probably worth a conversation at some point in the next week, is are we going to get to a point where spring football evolves into a more NFL model where we talk about calendar all the time, and this is something that takes place in May versus April? And at that point, you do a mini camp, and spring football becomes truly like something that happens over 3 or 4 weeks in May, and it's done much like the NFL, done by early June, and then we'll see again for camp. I do think that's probably a very common sense way that the sport needs to go. But for now, we still have a spring game. We still have a spring practice, and it all starts on Tuesday. This will be a very different spring than it was a year ago. The only talking point, the number one talking point, certainly wasn't the only one. The number one talking point a year ago was Julian Sayin. Who's winning that job? Who's the quarterback at Ohio State? And can Lincoln Kienholz, Julian Sayin, which one holds the other off, and then which one becomes a starting quarterback at Ohio State? And it was one of those things where if you went to the last real practice before the spring game, that was an absolute neck-and-neck battle that it felt like at some point maybe Lincoln had nudged ahead. Julian had a good spring game. Julian had a great summer practice and a great camp, and the rest is history. There will be no quarterback competition this time around. This is Julian Sayin's team. And I think when you think about this team, when I think about this team, and I think about for the last several years, there have been these massive personalities and draft picks and all of these guys who are just iconic Buckeyes who were leading teams. And the idea that we're going to play a season without Sonny Styles, we're going to play a season without Caleb Downs. We had to get used to playing a season without Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau and all of those guys. But the good news around here is you're going to have a Heisman finalist back at quarterback, and you have the best player in the sport coming back at receiver. The other thing that's pretty good about this, and if you go to, this is one of my favorite things to do this time of year, especially a little bit before the spring game, once the portal's done, once recruiting's done, and I pull up the rlads.com depth chart. Love doing this. So if you pull up the rlads.com depth chart of Ohio State as it stands right now, by the way, this is not an official depth chart. This is not anything to do with how it's actually going to look. What it does, though, give you is kind of a common sense view of what the roster could look like if they played a football game right now. And the one thing that they do is when it is a returning player, it is in blue. If it is a new player, a new transfer player, it is in orange. If it is a freshman, the player's name is in pink. So it's very easy to see who's returning, who's coming back, all of those things. And if you look at the Ohio State offense, it's a lot of status quo. It's a ton of status quo. The entire front primarily is back. Saravold, Montgomery, Hinsman, Padilla, Daniels. Okay, we know all those guys. Slot, Brandon Ennis, know him very well. Jeremiah Smith at X, know him very well. Got to figure out who's going to play in terms of Carnell Tate. Is Chris Henry ready for that? Or is that, because remember, the depth in that room was pillaged this year. So who in that room is ready to go opposite Jeremiah at receiver? Your running back room, Bo Jackson's still there. He's there. You're good. He's there. And you feel very good about that. Defensively, that's when you start to get some of those oranges, and that's where the blues are guys who haven't played, for example, in the linebacker room and the defensive tackle. That's where you're starting to see some new faces. You get to secondary, you think about safety, corner, guys who are going to have to step up. These are the positions Ohio State went and tackled in the portal. This is where Terry Moore comes in. This is where Christian Allegro comes in. This is where James Smith, John Walker come in. This is where the transfers are going to need to be dudes right away. It is on this side. Offensively, this team, and I think really the only thing you're really curious about when you get into spring football is going to be receivers, and it's just going to be, is Chris Henry ready as a freshman to go? There really are no other questions offensively for Ohio State. There's nothing else that jumps out. And you go, I don't know if they're good enough there. I don't know about that battle. It's who's the receiver opposite Brandon Ennis and Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, that's the one that gets all the headlines, as it should. I'm interested to see with Isaiah West and Bo Jackson out for the spring, who kind of steps up and shines. I mean, this is a great opportunity for some of those younger guys. Like, you don't need to see Bo Jackson really do anything in the spring. Like, he's your bell cow. But the way they distributed the football last season would give anybody great confidence behind him on the depth chart, the chance that if they show out in the spring that they will be rewarded. Especially even with, I would say, a tougher schedule this year than last year. I think that right guard spot's still going to be a question, with Joshua Padilla or Gabe Van Sickle. Again, not a sexy thing, nothing we're going to have to spend any time kind of breaking down on, but certainly something that you would, if you were Arthur Smith or if you were Ryan Day, take extra care to make sure you put the best five out there week one against, I think it's Ball State. And you got time. You got plenty of time.
I'll say this. I don't think the right guard spot's a question. I think it's Josh Padilla's. After what we saw in that Miami game, it sure seems like he's the guy that's been the guy in waiting for a long time. Then he got hurt. Then he kind of got shuffled out. Well, he went back in, and I feel like he played pretty well there. Could you see some moving parts on the offensive line? If a young guy steps up, like, could you move Austin Sareveld maybe to that right tackle spot if a Carter Lowe or an Ian Moore steps up and proves they're one of the best five? Yeah, I guess you could see that. It is very interesting, though. Last year, it was obviously the questions about Julian Sayin.
Mm-hmm.
But you felt pretty good with the rest of the offense because you had Jeremiah, because you had Carnell, and because you had what you thought then was a running back duo of James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson.
Yeah.
A lot of questions on the defensive side because you had 8 new starters.
Yeah.
Coming in. Sure, Julian took the headlines, but you had the number 1 defense in the country, and you had 8 new starters coming in. Well, those questions were erased really quickly on that side of the ball, and it is going to be very interesting to see what the talk of spring is because there's really no quarterback intrigue. You know who the quarterback is, and you seem set on offense. So what's going to be the position? I have a feeling it's going to be D-line as the position we're going to end up talking about a lot.
I think we're talking about D-line a lot. and they were obviously incredibly aggressive in the portal at tackle, at end. Quarasa's in that, kid from Alabama. He's in the mix there as well. You got young guys who are trying to elevate. So I think defensive line is going to be all. And then threes room. Peyton Pierce was a starter last year. So he's a dude. But who's the other guy? Is it Riley Pettijohn, who was a 5-star guy who came in here, was fine as a true freshman, but we don't expect much out of those guys? Or was there a reason that Christian Legro came in? And the transfer from Wisconsin. So I think threes' room is interesting. And then the back end is fascinating, what that looks like. I think safety is going to be very interesting. The corner situation is going to be interesting as well. You feel good with Matthews and Sanchez, but then beyond that, who are your nickel? What does that look like? And can those two safeties, it's good having McLean back, but Caleb Downs was a giant eraser.
Mm-hmm.
He was a problem eraser. And I know that we appreciated him appropriately. I hope all of you did, because there is guys like that at that type of position that are just giant erasers and then supremely gifted and then the smartest football minds you're ever going to find. They just don't come around that often. They don't. So that, to me, like, when I look at this team, I just think, who's leading that defense? My hunch is Peyton Pierce will be at the front of it. But who are the leaders on that defense? We have not had defensive leadership problems in a long time. I don't know if we're going to have them this year. My hunch is they'll get it sorted out. Great coaching staff on that side of the ball. But at the same time, someone has to be kind of the face of it all. And we've had some really massive personalities over the last, 5 or 6 years be the face of that side of the football.
Maybe I'm crazy, Bo, but I'm not worried about the linebacker room at all.
Oh, no, it's just who plays.
Especially after hearing those guys last week talk about Peyton Pierce. And I think we all assume he's going to be a starter because he played so much last year. But I think Pettijohn and Alliegro, I think they're going to be just fine. I think that's and then your leadership, it's always interesting who steps up. I think right away you think Kenyatta Jackson and Jermaine Matthews seem like the two guys. But there's always going to be someone who pops up out of nowhere that's, wow, that guy really took hold of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder with what this team, what the guys coming back from this team last season, like if you remember after spring, Ryan Day talked about how he had to break up more fights last year than he's ever had to. If like this team and this defense especially have that same kind of attitude going into fall. And I don't know how much you'll see of that in the spring. There's only, 14 practices spread out over 5-6 weeks. But just to see if some of those dogs start to come out early. Because the spring game's always a fun thing to see. And I do want for everybody to continue doing those kinds of spring games. But, yeah, I'm interested to see if you had a ton of attitude last season, who brings it back?
Yeah, and that's leadership. Who's going to provide that? Just to put a ribbon on the conversation about moving it, and a lot of coaches have talked about this, you could still do a spring game. You just would do it in May. That's all it would be.
And everybody would be fine with it.
You just do it in May is what you would do. And then you would have rosters sorted completely. Then the portal actually makes sense. Then the rosters make sense. Then you don't need to force kids to leave halfway through their senior year of high school. Like all of those boxes start to check. And that just goes to that calendar conversation we talk about all the time. It's a long ways off, and it is nothing imminent. But the Athletics' Ralph Russo made it his job of predicting the next coach at every Power 4 program. Let's just say we're quite familiar with the guy he picked here. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
With aging parents, you want to keep an eye on their finances without coming off like you're taking over their lives. With Huntington Bank, you can help protect your loved one's account right from your own. Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
Take action and get expert service from Logan Services. Heating service calls are just $79. Furnace tune-ups are also $79, and plumbing service calls are just $79. We work in your neighborhood, and scheduling online is quick and easy. So visit our website to book your appointment now. For fast, friendly service, choose Logan Services.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, you may be in big trouble with Chip Wood.
Our owner?
Free oil changes along with alignment?
On any 4-tire purchase.
And Goodyear's up to $160 off?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm telling.
But the Wood family is behind all this.
Oh, those rascals.
But don't tell the accountants.
Of course not. And what do they do again?
Buy any set of 4 tires at Tire Discounters and get a free alignment and oil change. Make them Goodyear's and save up to $160 more. See store for details.
Social Security is for everybody, but for too long, not everybody got everything they earned. Public servants and retirees worked hard for decades, but saw their guaranteed benefits reduced. That's why Congressman Mike Carey stepped up, passing the Social Security Fairness Act to protect benefits for millions of Americans. Thanks to Congressman Carey, Social Security benefits increased for teachers, firefighters, police officers, and other first responders in certain states, better serving the hardworking men and women who tirelessly serve us. And for those not nearing retirement, Congressman Carey passed the Working Families Tax Cut, the largest tax relief bill in United States history. Congressman Carey delivered no taxes on tips or overtime, increased the child tax credit, and passed thousands in tax relief for Ohio seniors. Find out more about how Mike Carey gets you everything you earned at carey.house.gov. Paid for with official funds from the Office of Mike Carey.
Morning Juice is now on YouTube, weekday mornings starting at 6.
If you're a fan of Bobby Carpenter, he's ready to attack and dominate.
If you're a fan of Jeff Gutoff,
drive directly to a hospital.
Seriously,
The Fan.
Did winter leave you with a roof leak just as spring approaches? Don't stress. The team at Newman Roofing has you covered. Voted Columbus's best roofing company 4 years in a row. Schedule your estimate by calling 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
When we take the time to read to our children, we show them that reading is important and fun. When we read stories with diverse characters and viewpoints with our kids, we show them new ways to see themselves and the world around them. Celebrate our nation of diverse readers as we celebrate Read Across America this week and all year round.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best.
For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Rain develops throughout the day today, and we could have moderate to heavy downpours at times, so safe travels and watch out for those slick spots. Temperatures will get up right around 50 degrees this afternoon, and then for tonight, rain continue into the Wednesday forecast. We'll get down into the 40s tonight, and then for Wednesday, a mild day ahead with scattered showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder and highs in the mid to upper 50s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
This is a fun, silly season topic. Ralph D. Russo with The Athletic. The task, who will be coaching your school in 2030? So 4 seasons from now. Every Power 4 football program he did it for. For example, some of the other ones that are bandied about that have Ohio State ties at Colorado, Deion Sanders in year 4. Kenny Guyton, your coach of Colorado in 2030. He did write that. This is a funny line out of Russo. Good luck forecasting when and how Sanders' time in Boulder will end. Colorado has a new ID in Fernando Lobb. Oh, that's our guy, Fernando. There's the connect. I didn't realize that. He's the one that Pantone sent to Channel 10 when Urban got the job looking for video. Because they wanted to do video boards all over the facility. Fernando's the one that they sent. He's the athletic director at Colorado? Holy smokes. He was here, and then he followed Herman to Texas. And I think Herbs hired him at Jacksonville with the Jaguars, and then maybe he ended up back at Texas. And then holy cow. Quite the ascent. You learn something even when you don't intend to. Very good ascent out of him. That's incredible. Kentucky, Will Stein is in year one. In 2030, Brian Hartline, Russo writes, the Americans' current lineup, USF seems like a good launching pad for Hartline to land a Power 4 job in 3 or 4 years. My hunch is that would obviously also think that Stein would be moving up as it goes along. For Cincinnati, ironically enough, Scott Satterfield in year 4, 2030, Luke Fickell, Wisconsin head coach. We couldn't resist a reunion on that side of things. I do wonder if he has any regret about all of it, considering how it's gone at Wisconsin. But the lead here is the choice at Ohio State. The current head coach at Ohio State, of course, is Ryan Day. He's in year 8. 4 seasons from now, Ralph Russo projects James Laurinaitis as Ohio State's next head coach. He writes, since Woody Hayes' 28-year tenure ended in 1978, no Ohio State coach has held a job more than 13 seasons. Laurinaitis, former Buckeye All-American, NFL player, could be in the mix for some lower-profile head coaching jobs this year and primed to take over his alma mater after Day knocks out a second national title and gives the NFL another shot. By the way, I take that script. Get that second natty? Perfect. That would work. I would tell you this, and I've said this on the show, and personal relationship aside, Threes is everything that you'd want the Ohio State coach to be. He's everything. He has a perfect mix of Tressel, Urban, Ryan, all of it. He's got that mix of all of it. He's a natural leader. You see what he's doing in recruiting. He's incredible when it comes to motivation and all the things that come with that. The person he is, all of that's A++++. And I know that there are people around the Ohio State program who certainly view him as someone who could do this job. Know that. So and no one wants to run anybody. Hope Ryan stays as long as he wants. Love Coach Day. But he is a very logical, common sense, I think fantastic idea as a successor. And to me, this makes all the sense in the world.
You had teased this segment with it's a little bit of a ways away, but it's only 4 years.
Yeah.
Right? So there's not a lot of time between now and that 2030. What would be the path for James then? Because I will maintain that your first job shouldn't be Ohio State. Your first head coaching job should not be Ohio State, especially now in a name, image, and likeness era where you've got to figure out, I think, if you can handle it at the MAC level or handle it at the group of 5 level before just jumping up into the Power 5 level. Like the thing with Ryan Day was he was anointed head coach while it was still coaches with the control in college football. And then he was able to, with a lot of infrastructure around him, adapt on the fly with how everything goes now in college athletics. So I do wonder for the next head coach at Ohio State, whomever it might be, I think the Brian Hartline route, and we're going to see how good of a head coach Brian Hartline's going to be pretty soon. You have to do that at a lower level before coming up and taking probably the biggest job in the sport.
I don't think you have to, because the guy he played linebacker with is Marcus Freeman.
But he coordinated defenses at the college level.
He did, but Marcus isn't coordinating the defenses now.
Sure.
And he hasn't coordinated the defenses at Notre Dame since he got there. Head coach at Big State U is, can you recruit, can you fundraise, can you lead? That's the job. And by the way, Threes, you remember, Threes could coordinate a defense in his sleep if he wanted to. We know that because we know him and we know what he's capable of. But, I don't think you need to do that anymore. I think if someone is special enough, you can have that happen. And there's plenty of examples of it where, Dabo Swinney's first head coaching job was at Clemson. He's won 2 national titles. Ryan Day's won a national title. First head coaching job at Ohio State. Marcus Freeman could have had multiple NFL jobs if he wanted it. He's probably the number one guy that the NFL looks at and goes, that's the guy. If Marcus wanted to do that, he could do it. So I think if you're really smart and gifted, you don't need to take that. I don't think Kyle Whittingham was ever a coach before he was the head coach at Utah. I don't believe he was.
That's different, though, to me. Like Utah and Clemson, and especially when Dabo took it over, it was different than what you're dealing with here at Ohio State. They were perennially top 15 team. They were perennially top 10, top 15 team. He elevated it for sure, but they were already recruiting at a very, very high level. Clemson is a big-time job, and certainly Notre Dame is as big a job as you're going to find. This is such a difficult thing for me because I know a lot of people have always talked about Brian Hartline. I never got the feeling Brian Hartline was the next coach at Ohio State, and I actually am not sure he's ever going to be the coach at Ohio State. But James Laurinaitis, I've always felt like, is the future of the Ohio State program.
Mm-hmm.
But I also hate, this isn't the place to learn on the job as a head coach. And you mentioned Ryan, he won a national championship in year 8, and he did a lot of things good, but you saw the growing pains, and you might have missed out on a national championship or two with those growing pains. You'll never know. You can't go back and figure that out, but there were a lot of people that were really down on Ryan Day because of the performances of this team against bigger teams when talent on the field equated. Now, Ryan Day did everything else perfect, I think, and he knocked it out of the park. But there are in-game things that happen that you just don't know until you've been there. And I feel like we saw some of that with Ryan Day. So I think James Laurinaitis could be the next head coach at Ohio State. And I think he would be great, but I do think you're going to have some bumpy road ahead for him with that. Now, can he overcome it? Sure he can.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think you have to be ready if that's the path you go. And we're seeing this with Jake Diebler, I believe, right now on the basketball side of things, and it's not amplified nearly as much on that side. I do think there's going to be some speed bumps along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think with anybody there would be. There is no guarantee that if you go hire somebody who's been a coach somewhere else that it's going to apply here. There are no sure things. There are sure people. And that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, he's a sure person, I believe, long term.
Yes, for sure. So that's the thing that you're looking for. Like if you're the power brokers that are going to make a decision whenever this time comes, and again, hopefully this isn't something you got to deal with anytime soon, and you win that second national title and all of the things that come with the job. Ryan's killing it. But the thing that you say is, I want the best guy. I used to say this all the time when I was a sports director. Like, give me the talent and I will curate it. I don't need experience necessarily. Let me hire smart people and we'll get it to where it needs to go. And so I'm not so worried about that. Like, for example, if my client, let's say we're sports agents and we were representing Brian Hartline last few years or Luke Fickell when he was here or Threes now, whatever. I would not advise them to take a MAC job. I would not advise that at all. I would advise you if you're going to leave, and I think Brian did it pretty good. The only thing Brian doesn't have at USF is just he's never lived there. You know, I mean, he lived in South Florida. He obviously has recruited Florida, but in terms of like, there's not really any connective tissue between him and USF. You know, the one that I think really crushed it, and then his own ineptitude led to his demise, was Harmon. I mean, Tom Herman, rather. He's the one. I mean, he went to Houston, which was set up from the previous regime, and that set him up to win right away. And then in 2 years, he got to choose between Texas and LSU. That's what you're looking for. So if you're going to try to do that, where you do like a short window to win, you better be damn sure that place is a place you can win at in short order, because you don't want to be there long. You want to be there a couple of years and then you want to get out. But I think what Marcus has done at Notre Dame would be the best comparison for Threes, would be that. That's the guy who, I mean, that's been a home run. Now, to your point, it was rough early. I think he lost his first 2 games. Didn't they get beat at home by like Marshall or something early on that year one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And people were like, boy, can this guy coach? And then he flipped it. And now they're humming.
I think Northern Illinois, too, maybe.
It was Northern Illinois. That's the one. They had 2 losses early that were crazy, crazy losses in his first year that kind of dogged him. But he's smart enough. He's motivated enough to right the ship. Played for a national title 2 years ago. We're in the mix this last year. A lot of people thought maybe they should have been in, especially the way Bama finished. And will be a top 5 team next year to start the year. So he has proven that if you are smart, you are determined, you can motivate, you can recruit, you can fundraise, you can coach. I think Threes can do all of those things. And I think that's probably why Ralph Russo got to that point. I think that's why a lot of people around here think when the time comes, whenever it is, He's going to be on a very, very short list. Jackets back at home after surviving Manhattan last night. Shelley time in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Want to start testosterone therapy? Go to Low T Center, the area's #1 TRT clinic for effective, custom testosterone covered by insurance. This month, get a free men's T-test and discounts on peptides. Head to lowtcenter.com now and book your free test.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here. You know High Bank for their award-winning spirits, but the food deserves just as much love. Enjoy happy hour with friends, brunch with family, and dinner that never misses. Make your reservation today at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good. You know the savings are so good. You know the savings are so good. Great cars, great deals, Great Lakes. GLakesHyundai.com.
Steve here from USA Insulation. Let me ask you a question. Do you know why your thermos keeps your coffee hot? Because it's insulated with foam. So let us do the same thing and insulate your home with our premium foam for only $99 a month, interest-free. The cold weather's here. There's nothing better than sitting in a warm, comfortable home with your loved ones and keeping that cold, drafty air outside. So make the call today, 529-2440, 529-2440 or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
It's March. Send it in, big fella. That means the greatest sports weekend of the year is coming, and the best place to set the puppies and watch the tournament is at Hollywood Casino Columbus. I'm Scotty Vegas, and Thursday through Sunday opening weekend, kiss the kids goodbye and hang out from noon to 5 with the Fan at the Hollywood Casino Sportsbook. A Bill Raftery impersonation contest, free throw games, free shirts, and more. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. Onions!
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The gloves. Shelley time.
Be doing this a lot on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. A game every day. That's kind of the way we go. Played last night in Manhattan. You were calling the game in Toronto between the Leafs and the Flyers. I haven't asked you this before, and I'm curious your answer. How do you keep it at all an eye on what the Jackets are doing while calling your game?
I absolutely do. Yes. And, it's not hard to do. Plus, the people that work with us give me updates. And so last night was probably like all the fans. I was like, oh, great. Yeah. All right. And then, whoa. What's going on? They're in overtime. And then I saw that they got it done. So, yeah, I just keep an update on my we have a computer there, and we have all the scores and goal scorers and the stats guys. So we're live with a lot of the games going on, but we pay special attention to our hometown teams for sure.
Yeah, I was always curious about. Hockey is such a fast-paced sport, but it's easy to take a glance down and see what's going on. Your game went to overtime and eventually a shootout with the Flyers winning 3-2 in Toronto. The Jackets obviously won it in overtime. We said earlier in the show, Jody, at least if you're going to give it a point to a team, it's okay to give it to the Rangers, but because they're not going to be in the mix. But I do think if this would have gone south in overtime, and thankfully you don't have to consider it, this could have been a teetering game where all of a sudden now it's 3 in a row and more, and then it kind of festers a little bit. And sports are that way, but thankfully we don't have to have that conversation. When you think about the idea that this team is playing again tonight, and then they're off, and then they play again Thursday, how quickly can you flush, for example, the third period yesterday?
I just think it's you got to have moments of kind of getting scared a little bit. It's okay if you can get through it, and then smile at each other and be like, all right, what did we learn? What did we do wrong? Let's be honest. Zach Werenski was not in the lineup. That is a guy that really calms down the play in the Blue Jackets' own end when he can just carry the puck and hold the puck and keep it away from any kind of momentum. So there's a calmness he brings, but with Matejchuk, who's a young player out there in a bigger role, I love that Rick Bowness threw Fantilli out there to start overtime. Mm-hmm. Fantilli made a play last 3-on-3 at home in front of the packed barn here at Nationwide Arena where he just missed his man. and the Islanders get their comeback victory, on home ice. And Rick Bowness didn't say, well, I'm done with that now. He put him out there to start, and I saw him have a conversation with Adam before the puck was dropped, and that goes a long way. So, you're going to be in situations in playoffs if you make it, and they're going to be higher stakes, bigger moments, bigger pushes and comebacks, more urgency. And these are all good tests to go through and survive is the key right now. It doesn't, it's not a time for lessons and come out on the wrong end. It's a come through and find a way to get it done.
Basically, what we're signing up for is a month of the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, or longer. We got 6 weeks, buddy.
I know it.
Right down to the wire. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to love about it. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's from a fan perspective, you love it. You said yesterday from a player perspective, you love it. You were just in the epicenter of the sport yesterday in Toronto. As you were talking to just folks around the sport with Friday looming, what is kind of the sense that you get of what this week will bring in terms of the trade deadline?
I mean, I was in the center of all the rumors. So, intermissions was just hot stoving it up. And at one point I was actually going to be late not because I was hanging out next to the pizza and the ice cream. It's because everyone was chattering. There was, I want to say there was a dozen scouts there last night at that game. Everybody's locking in and everything is kind of slow. And but there's a lot of teams ready to make a move and improve their team. And there's teams that have been waiting for teams like the Columbus Blue Jackets with 2 to 3 really good free agents that they thought were going to be available and maybe having conversations on. But since the Blue Jackets came to life and put themselves now 3 points out of the playoff spot, they're kind of holding up the market a little bit, is what I read a little bit today. So, yeah. It's going to come down to the wire. I mean, it really is. And a team like Toronto last night, you only got 1 point. They're done. That's the talk there. They're done because the runway to get their game back on the highest level it could possibly be is only 2 games: New Jersey and then New York, and then it's the deadline. And you win those 2 games, you're 5 out or 6 out, but still, you don't have the confidence in your team to make a playoff push, and there's a lot of teams in that boat.
This is always a tricky one, but we're just throwing stuff at the wall. And I won't ask you to get into Don Waddell's head on this, but I can't imagine. My hunch is the conversation is constant for him and the advisors, nobody in that front office. They're talking about what can we do, how do we do this, and you're in this spot that we've been in a lot, where you're chasing the last wild card spot. You mentioned the 3 pending free agents that would have massive value. You also have some young guys who have underperformed, so there's a lot of different ways that you could kind of handle the next week. What is your sense that in terms of, as you've gotten to know Don, what do you think matters most to him right now in terms of building this team eventually into a Stanley Cup contender? Where does he view year 2 for him and the regime in terms of what's most important this week?
Well, he showed us he likes size. That's something that's important to him. He showed us he likes versatility. A guy like Provorov is one of the best examples in the National Hockey League. I mean, that guy's not missed but minutes of his entire NHL career. I think he's got the attitude of, I'm going to pay you. You got to be a guy that can work through bumps and bruises and be that player to commit to the team. He also likes skill and speed. So, and you can look through a lot of teams in the league. I can go through 6 or 7 teams that are looking for that number 1 defenseman that we have here in Columbus, and Zach Werenski. Teams are looking for average goaltending to maybe a little bit above average. It just can't be below that average of what's expected to be saved every night. It's got to be above it some nights, but at expected for most nights, and the Blue Jackets have that. They're also looking for young prospects. And you look at teams now that are looking for draft picks. Look at our draft picks. Matejchuk's ahead of the curve, if you were to guess, 3 years in. Cole Sillinger's had 4 coaches in 5 years in the National Hockey League now. I mean, there's adjustment every time he gets a new coach. He gets a new role. But he's 5 years in the National Hockey League. You had to wait for him to get to these points to figure out what their role is. And I heard you guys talking. He's only got 4 goals. There's still a role for Cole Sillinger. There's a role for him to settle in and produce. Mm-hmm. But he's on a very good checking line right now with Cole and Olivier. That's good for the young man, now and later. And then also up front, everyone's looking for a number 1, number 2 center. If it's not a number 1, it's a number 2, or they have a number 2 playing a number 1. And the Blue Jackets, I think, have 2 1B centermen, and that's Monahan and Fantilli. Fantilli's still in the making. To me, Monahan, when healthy, is the number 1 center. Mm-hmm. At the top of his game, but he's not there right now. So it's Fantilli getting the full run, and you can see he has growing pains through it. But there's a luxury here of players that they've waited on and added that have complemented very well. But I think a top 6 forward, like I said yesterday, that's something that they have to have now with Kent Johnson. Kind of in the doldrums of where he's in this lineup because he can't play bottom 6. He's just not that type of player. So he's a top 6 player, and right now it's not that top hockey they need. And every team could always use depth on D. And, I look at a guy like Jack Johnson, who was underutilized last year as a Stanley Cup champion. Those guys go a long way. Those players that are in their late 30s, won cups, love the opportunity to be the extra guy. And I think, are always looking at complementing any one of those positions as well.
Yeah, and you laid that out so well, buddy. And you mentioned Kent Johnson. We were talking about him, too, in the regard to the Sillinger conversation that we were having. And I'll pose it to you. Do you think that Don Waddell still views him as an integral part of the future of this franchise?
I think so. I think anytime you have a pick that's in the top 5 in the National Hockey League with that amount of skill, I think every player is different as far as how they come to the NHL with their strength, how they grow, how fast they grow. If you don't wait on Kent Johnson, I think it's a player that you're going to regret because, first of all, he needs the right players to play with, and James Van Riemsdyk was perfect for Kent Johnson.
He really was. God,
perfect.
Man, he was great.
Yeah,
you were on that from Jump Street. Yeah.
That's why we saw him playing so well and excelling. They thought the game the same way. They played the game at the same pace, but they also thought it at a very, very fast pace, and that's why they were effective. Mm-hmm. So to have Kent Johnson, and if he's got to play in your top 6, let's say he plays in your top 9, he has to have someone that complements him, and he complements well because there's a game within the game that is so important to be played, and he can do it. But right now, it just seems like the guys he's playing with are fighting the puck a bit and fighting for what they want to do out there. And that happens during stretches. Mm-hmm. So right now it's Kent Johnson's turn out, and maybe he comes back and they come to life. But, right now I would not go sour on him. I look at Chinnikov, that first-round pick that was sent to Pittsburgh. He was a guy who wanted out of here, under the last coaching regime. And, he didn't make it to the new coaching regime. We can't look back and say what would have happened if he was with Rick Bowness because who knows? I mean, there's hundreds of players, thousands of players probably that played professional hockey that, just didn't like the situation, how their coach saw them and what did they expect them to do. And they've been moved on or maybe ended their careers and not known how good they were. So, that's situations that happen. But I don't think you can afford to do that unless it's for it's a package for a real trade with substance that impacts this organization for a while. Someone with term. Mm-hmm. Someone who can play, someone who everyone's excited to come to the city. I look at Steven Stamkos with the Nashville Predators. He's come to life. His name is out there for trade. Would he be coming to Columbus? I don't know, but the players would be excited to have a guy like that. But I'm just throwing that out there are. We're throwing mud against the wall here all week until Friday. Don't worry about it. I was with Paul Bissonnette last night after the game, from TNT, and we were throwing around Austin Matthews trades, right?
Sure.
Like trade them. What if we're going to trade them at the deadline? We went to LA, we went to different teams, and just threw names out there. Mm-hmm. And we were having a good old time. Yeah. But that's what this week is for.
You and Biz didn't have to break up any fights. Last time he did that, it didn't end well for the people on the other end.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Remember?
That was a while ago. Yeah.
Remember that in Phoenix when those golfers were running their mouth and then he put an end to
I saw
that?
him running out the door last night. I would not have followed him.
No, God, you learned. You got to learn, buddy.
We had security, but they left at 10 o'clock, 10:30 after the game. So
that's
I
great.
told them not
All
to
right.
leave, but they left.
Well, look forward to have you back on the broadcast tonight, buddy, and get another 2 points and just keep this thing going in what will be a really fun week for the Jackets. Thanks for your time.
Isn't this great?
So much
Lots of hockey, buddy. Yeah. Jackets tonight. They'll be rolling at home. Get that win and check out the standings in the morning. Thanks, Bo.
All right, buddy. A little bit of Shelley time for you. Bad job out of me not remembering Van Riemsdyk last year with Johnson. That's a bad job. Jody was a big JVR guy. That's a bad job out of me when we were having the Johnson conversation earlier. We'll get into 3 things on the Tuesday coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free. Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free. Really?
Really. Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9th. Restrictions apply.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off of closing costs. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 5.79% APR 5.81% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at runyondentalgroup.com. That's runyondentalgroup.com.
Common Man and Timmy.
And my mom says, "Oh, me too." And then she gives me 3 eggplant emojis. I don't think she knows what an eggplant means.
Common Man and Timmy Afternoons on the Fan is sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Working your way through that home projects list? More flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks for all your plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling needs. Call the Waterworks, trusted and certified plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Most people don't think about their garage door until it stops working. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Door Service. A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. There's never a good time for your garage door to break, whether you're rushing to work or you're trying to get the kids to school. We know how much you rely on your garage door. That's why we offer same-day repairs, because life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Over 90,000 5-star reviews don't happen by accident. They happen by putting people first. Fixing your garage door is what we do, but making your life easier and your home safer is why we do it. Families trust us because we deliver, and we'd be honored to earn your trust too. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Door Service today.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yingling drafts for only $4. Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. What are we on the poll today, buddy?
The Daily Fan Poll, sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub. It sets up like this. If the over-under were to be set at 4.5 more seasons, would you take the over or the under on Ryan Day being the head coach at Ohio State?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's split 50-50.
Yeah, that's when you know you've done it.
You have done your job correctly when you get that.
Whoever came up with that, good job out of them. That is a great one right there. So it's over under the next 4 more years. This ties into the Russo conversation about 2030, right? I would go under.
I would too.
I just think 12 years.
That's a long time to be head coach.
Yeah, I think 12 years in the pressure cooker that is Ohio State, that is modern college football, is a lot. I think it's a lot.
I would also, RJ graduates this year, and then I believe their daughter is not too far behind, so you never know how that changes things with these guys and what they want to do. And
you're just never going to see 20-year tenures in major college football anymore. It's not. This is going to be a job. And really, Urban had the right timing, I think, on all of this, kind of like 7-8 years, a little bit more. But that's kind of the sweet spot, was something around there. So, yeah, I think the smart bet on that would be to take the under. I hope Ryan stays as long as he wants. But to me, that feels like a little bit of an under at that point. 12 years, the head coach years, that's a lot.
And I think he can stay as long as he wants right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, time for 3 things on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, number 1 for me, last night, as I mentioned yesterday, was our town's basketball banquet. I'm one of the co-directors of the basketball program, so I give a little 15, 20-minute kind of summation of how the season went, wins, losses, highlights, things we got to get better at, so forth. Then we broke out into team chats, and so then the coaches are able to go with their teams and the parents and have conversations about the season and kind of reminisce and just kind of put a ribbon on the season. So this was Beamsy's last one, so we can have them through 6th grade, and then they go to middle school. And I said to myself, because I was a puddle of tears with NBC when he was a 6th grader 2 years ago, I said to myself, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to break down when I talk about him. And of course I broke down. It was amazing how when I told him this afterwards, and you get through it because, we do these things. But I told him afterwards, I said, buddy, the whole time I was talking about you, I just saw you as a 3rd grader. And it just occurred to me how quickly that time went from your first season of travel in 3rd grade to 6th. And it's awesome experience. It was great. I'm so thankful for that particular group of families and kids. But, puddle of tears again. Undefeated.
First thing for me, I saw this earlier in the hour, and I threw it at Baker in the break, but NBC Sports said the 49ers won a first-round pick for quarterback Mac Jones. So I put this to you, Cleveland Browns fan out there. 24 to San Francisco for Mac Jones.
Good Lord.
What do you say?
Well, I say that I want to do an Italian trip with Dom, and I want to go cover the game in Austin, Texas next year, but we don't get everything we want.
It's true.
So, a 1? Come on. That's a little rich. It's good
to want things, is what I always say.
Yeah. I do think it'll be a 2 for him.
I mean, it's got to be a 1 because our second's going to Arizona for Marv. So.
Yeah, you're getting Marv with 39.
If you ended up with, so then you'd have to take, Francis Manea or whatever.
Mauioa at 24.
Mauioa. So if he's at 6 or tackle at 6, Marv and Mac, how does that even sit?
Well, pretty nicely on a Super Bowl parade, I'll tell you that much.
I'm not as sure on Mac Jones.
I think it beats the alternative.
Yeah. I think Kyle is one of the true geniuses in the sport, so I think he's a little bit of a cheat code.
First thing for me, the news broke yesterday during the Jake Diebler show, even though I'm not sure it was supposed to, that Paul Keels is being inducted into the Ohio State Basketball Hall of Fame. Yep. And I got to tell you, it couldn't happen soon enough for Paul. He's one of the best, and I've always thought that Paul's basketball, and I know most people know him for football, that his basketball really is where he shines. And I agree. I have been lucky enough to sit next to him and Ron and produce for a game that they did at the state basketball tournament. How cool is that to have Paul Keels call your state championship basketball game? But just seeing the way he does things and how it's so simplistic and the chemistry that those two have, I mean, Paul is just one of the best, and every accolade he gets, he deserves.
I'll make this my number 2. I think one of the most amazing things about Paul is that you can listen to him on football with Jim, and you can listen to him on basketball with Ronnie, and you would be convinced that both of them are his best friend. And that's a gift, that you can vacillate from one to the next, and it feels like a warm blanket every time you hear them work together. And Skip deserves a lot of credit for all of that. But I mean, it's the quality of human, and then the quality of that they do their job at is so elite.
I'll make this my second and probably final thing, but to buttress the point about Paul Keels, give yourself an opportunity now that you can do this anywhere and go just listen to some of the other programs in the Big Ten and their calls on football and basketball. While some are very, very good, there is nobody, and The Rock means nobody on the level of Paul Keels, Jim Lachey, Paul Keels, and Ron Stokes, and we are very fortunate to have them.
My second thing, guys, I'm going to need you to carry the flag tonight for me. This is one of the rare nights I'm not going to be locked in on the Jackets the whole night. Ohio Dominican plays their quarterfinal matchup against Findlay in the Great Midwest Conference Tournament tonight over at Ohio Dominican. I'm going to be part of the call this evening on that, so looking forward to that, and hopefully the Panthers can get a win over the Oilers in advance.
There you go. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. You read that right, Reese. No time for 3 today. Rothwood Ice coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the Ohio State conversation you can handle. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Your Ohio State flagship station.